Okay, we are live. It's the floating comic book chat. Terrence, ComicKkrakk, will be joining us shortly. And right next to me, over here, is my good friend, Rasa. We've just been talking about where she should have her summer and winter homes.
Yeah. We accept
winter home in Lithuania, summer home in... No.
Yeah, we accept payments via PayPal.
Yeah.
If you want to support me to go to live in South Africa.
Let's do a GoFundMe for you to have houses in different countries.
That would be lovely, man. Oh, no, nobody's as generous these days anymore.
For those who don't know, Rasa's husband is a South African citizen, and Rasa is a Lithuanian citizen. And we're saying Lithuania is nice in the summer, and South Africa is nice in the winter. I suppose their winter is reversed from ours anyway. Scott Connor's here. Hello, Scott. Go rent me. I guess we could just get you. Oh, and ComicKkrakk has popped in.
Oh, look
earlier
at you.
than expected. Hey, Terrence.
Hello. How are you all?
Started.
Oh, perfect.
And Ragamuffin saying, "Where's the edible comics?" I'm not sure what that is a reference to. I mean, I thought edible panties, but I didn't know about edible comics.
I don't think they invented that yet.
I think he means my drug comics, maybe.
Oh,
like
how's everybody?
Edibles with marijuana.
Yeah, probably.
Well, are you doing this all the time, like your comics?
Yeah. That's true. Well, because if they didn't smell so damn good, I wouldn't need to do that. Holy smokes, it's been forever. Have we already gone through this? It's been like 5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's like I'm shy to talk to you guys. It's like, what the hell happened? I was like,
you exist. You both exist. You're here.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine we would sit down next to each other, and we would have to do this chat. That would be more awkward.
That would be super strange.
Oh, it's the title I gave this episode, which was Chewing on Comics in Real Time. I have no idea why I gave it that title. But
well, it's fine.
It seemed
well,
good
as I say,
we
just next video will show you how to use your comic books as a sniffing board.
No sniffing.
What are you sniffing off those comics? I don't know.
It's like, what is this dust? Oh,
sorry, I must have interrupted something. I jumped.
No, nothing. We were just talking about how to
joking around about getting Rasa houses on different continents too.
Yeah, a GoFundMe. Like a GoFundMe. I have different continents to go to visit family. So you need some properties to have there. So that would be nice.
Yeah, no, totally would. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bedrock ready to rock. Yeah, I took a picture of a panel from a Flintstones Great Gazoo comic, which I haven't read the entirety of. I've just browsed through it. I thought maybe I would have read the whole thing before today.
Mm-hmm.
I've been having trouble reading a lot of my usual large dose of comics has been lagging.
Believe me, I have troubles concentrating to actually reading a comic. It's like being ill. You're like, oh, let me distract myself. I can read the comic book 2 pages in. What the hell happened? What did I read about? I had a nasty cold for like 2.5 weeks, which is I've been testing myself like stupid, for reasons of this day and age. But thankfully, nothing is there. So
so it was just a nasty cold.
Yeah, but one of those.
And your son had it too?
Yeah.
Did it last as long for him?
Yeah, my son is kind of like he gets something and we make him recover. He goes to preschool 2 days later with something. So something else happens. So it's just a preschool. You just have to go for those germs of other kids, which doesn't really help. But that's what your 3-4-year-old kids have. They just bring shit. So
that's true. Other people's dirty children make their way back to your house.
Those damn dirty children.
That's right. Your own. That's right. Exactly right.
One day I'm just gonna be so paranoid. Like, okay, black light. Shh. Let's spray you with antibacterial things before you go in the house. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that's what it is when you have a kid in that time, in that age. So they just bring stuff in the house.
Yeah.
It doesn't help in COVID situation as well, which is.
Then you have to be more paranoid in COVID situation, I guess.
Oh yeah, the preschool is actually very fantastic, to be honest. I was bad mouthing them, but I think it's just the situational things, like people gets into unknowns, but they were really supportive, and
now so you got past the problem period, and now they're.
Oh yeah. Now they almost I tried to make them like almost my best friends, like the teachers, just because I know if they are like in that kind of relationship, I know my son will be fine, and it seems to be.
That's a smart move.
Yeah, it's just reassurance. Sometimes if they need to see your humanity side, your situational part as well, they don't realize. And then when you have a conversation, we had a conversation basically with them, and I told them the situation, what we have in here, that we don't have families, and blah, blah, blah. It's not some easy thing. We just go click the fingers and just go do whatever you want us to do. We can't do that. Oh, we didn't realize. And that from that point onwards, it's like the stage curtain opened up, and they're like, okay, welcome, please come down. And like all good. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's super important in those situations for sure to kind of let them behind the curtain a little bit, right? Just to make it easier. I always tell people at work, make friends with the accountants. Same kind of thing. Like make friends with people that are gonna have a direct effect on your life, like whether it's your kids or your pay, you know what I mean? Like just show them a little bit and they'll help you out, especially with school, right? Because it's challenging period. It's challenging enough already.
Yeah, I have to already make a application form for his school. Yeah, which is going to happen next September, which hopefully they will approve because it's local. It's a local school as well. So hopefully that will be not a problem. But it's just
many hours a day will that be next year?
6.
6. Wow, that's a big jump, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be 6, I think, at least. It depends. I think there's some days will be lower. I think it's just because of the child's year, like it's but still kind of the same setting, to be honest. It's just like they say the first year of the school is like a preschool year, and then a preschool year, to be honest. They all like really having fun, nothing serious, to be honest, but they still already pushing them. You have to do this and you have to do that. And my son still has speech language problems, and we're trying to get him to be seen by specialists. He just went for hearing test, and of course it's normal. He can hear.
Yeah.
Everything is up to standards, how we presume, but it's just the hurdles they have to go through before you actually see somebody, because they have to tick the boxes before. So when you see a specialist, he's like, okay, you're okay with this one, so we can take this away, and then we just actually find the problem.
Yeah. Well, I think a ton of boys have language delays, which is actually just natural for them. People speak out because the average is language by a certain time. But
it's funny.
I know that Matt, Agent 42Q is having the same problem with his son. But I think it all works out fine in the end. In most cases,
it's the thing is the institution on what we are faced as a new parents, where we don't understand it really, because there's a set of rules, or like what they expect your child to be in that bracket where it's supposed normal, like that kind of idea. And then you like as a new parent, you're like, what the hell? Why? Like it's just like 3 or 4 or like 2. And you have expectations for that kid, like just let us relax and let them just grow up and do whatever they wanted to do. But no. And that's when we start worrying as a parents, I think we wouldn't be in that situation if they wouldn't push to that kind of standards and so early, I think. I think it's just timing.
Compared to my childhood, it feels like they expect a lot of stuff much earlier now than they used to. I wonder if it's it used to all be shaped on boys' development, and now girls' development is taken more into account, which is on average quicker.
My niece, who's 2, she just went for the 2 years checkup after her birthday, and they're already complaining that she can't say 2 words together. I was like, what? It's like 2-year-old. Come on, man, let her be. She's like, she has to be able to say beautiful flower, not just flower, or beautiful. It's like, what? And that's in my country, because my sister's the child, she's just turned 2. I've never met her, but which is bloody ridiculous. My whole family is like, I don't know who you are. Basically, she would look at me like, who the fuck are you? kind of thing. But yeah.
In my daughter's kindergarten, which is 5 years old here, they were writing personal narratives in kindergarten. I was just learning ABC in kindergarten. And the teacher would get mad at my daughter because she wanted to write fiction and they were only allowed to write personal narratives. And it's like, you should be happy they can write at all, anything.
Rag has got a good one there.
Oh, sorry. I've stopped paying attention. It's doing physics in 3rd grade now. Well,
I was hitting the razor.
Hey, Earl Grey is here. That scofflaw.
Yeah.
But we miss you, Earl. Maybe we can have you on as a guest sometime.
Yeah. You stop hiding in that German woods.
Yeah. So, on the opposite end of things, we've learned in advance that George Perez is going to die. It's an interesting situation. It's like he is able to attend his own funeral for the next 6 months, with people around the world praising him and stuff.
I don't know how I actually felt like I don't know what to feel like, because I do love what he was doing and what he has done, and the way he is always presenting himself as well. You always feel warm to that person, even though in interviews, I've never met him face to face, but just looking interviews on YouTube and all the stuff, or people talking about him, it's always so welcome. And then you can sense that person is so just like warm to no matter whatever you are. And then he has always, like, you remember he had the eyesight problems.
Yeah.
And now he has
was a
this.
Bummer too.
And it's like, oh my God. But he's so positive as well. I mean, of course, you are kind of overwhelmed a bit, those kind of, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't want even to, I don't know how to feel that, because I would dread knowing. I mean, maybe it's good, I guess, already, like no surprises kind of thing, but still, yeah.
Well, most of us don't get to hear about all the people pouring out the love for you after you die.
Yeah, that's the thing. You start to be like, everybody start to remember who you are, and just because of that. Yeah. But that's how we are, isn't it? We get reminded about something bad happens and stuff.
I wish my daughter had Celia in her grade school, elementary school.
Yeah.
And good to see you here, Celia. Ragamuffin.
The Britannica.
A reference to my title again. eating comics in real time.
Yeah.
Or chewing on comics. I meant like chewing on them mentally.
Yeah. No, he just does it. He's just like
reference to us being on video.
Yeah, why buy cheese if you have a comic? You just rip it, digest. And you're like, oh, I understand what's happening in a comic book. Wow, I have powers. Oh, sorry, I'm going mad.
Is that Batman Adventures you have there, Rasa?
Oh yeah. I've been catching up to. I read these two. I didn't read this one because they. One? No, the latest one is that one. Oops, sorry, I was on note.
Right.
That's the latest one, 6th.
What are you thinking about? I talked about it in one of my videos briefly. What are you thinking about the art in the last couple of issues? It's really. I'll let you actually fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
To be like this one, number 4, it was okay. I mean, very dark, very grim and stuff, but it's actually quite really like like you're watching TV show, to be honest. And I really like this one because of Montoya in the forefront. And I wasn't like aware in the animation that she was not really a fan of the Batman as well. And she was like proper like why are you here? Like I don't need you. I can do my job, kind of thing. And the art is consistent in here, but then on issue number 5, I noticed a bit more inconsistencies in the art. But isn't it somebody of this creative team is having issues with health as well? But I don't know who's the artist. Is it Dini artist? Yeah.
No, I think it's Burchett, I think, is doing the art on that series.
Okay. No, anyway,
With
so I know
Burchett.
Denise has some issues because of the
Oh, see, I
or
didn't know
somebody. Yeah, somebody having health problems and that's a lot.
Right.
But yeah, there's some inconsistencies, but it's just really, I don't know. I just really like it. It's entertaining. I like to. I have my fix of Batman because in comparison, I managed to read. I don't know how I did it. I don't remember. I was in those drug state where I was reading Batman, the new Batman 118. Came out because I was thinking I wanted to try to see because the new creative team again, like DC, and I was reading and it didn't give me any whatsoever effect of new. It just felt kind of very similar.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's when reading this, for example, it's so refreshing. It's just nice. It's just has that good feel vibe of Batman, how he's doing his stuff. And in this one, the storyline was actually quite entertaining because it's like going backwards. He's kind of telling the tale to his group of people working, like the Batgirl and Robin and the Night Girl about this. Nightwing, about this politician and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. As I say, story-wise, it's still continuously well. But I wonder how long does it last, because it seems to be they're not lasting as long as. I mean, the last one was 6 issues, I think. So I was
think
thinking
something like that. Yeah, it seems like they're doing these shorter seasons as opposed to kind of just doing new storylines and keeping the numbering going.
And I'm looking forward to reading that. I start reading this too, and I almost fall asleep. So I was like, okay, time to have a break.
The last 2 issues, the art has really fallen off, like in a big way. It seems really sloppy. I agree with you, though. The stories are so much fun. I'm still reading it, and I'm still enjoying the stories. But the last 2 issues, I don't know what's going on.
Is it a different artist or the same artist?
It just feels incomplete, like rushed. You know what I mean?
So maybe it's the artist.
I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of jagged inking lines.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And the face is a little bit skew up, like coloring maybe did that. I don't know what's happened sometimes. It depends.
Yeah.
And the coloring is kind of very one-dimensional in some. In this one, for example, it's kind of one color without having shadows and stuff in the play, and it's very dark. To be honest, it gets darker and darker now. I mean, I know the theme
is. The colorist changed, maybe.
No, it's still the same.
I think the team is the same.
Wow.
Yeah,
it almost
same.
feels like
when they go overly dark.
It almost feels like a time issue thing. Like they were rushing to get it done, is what it seems to me. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but that's how it feels.
I don't know if you can, I don't think you can see, but anyway, the inking line is very jagged, and it's weird because it's kind of like, these day and age, you don't really have. It's like, like a 2D computer like kind of thing, like not a HD animation in a way kind of thing. Right. It feels like that. It's just like he says, it's probably a bit rushed. But
like the pixel resolution is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you would think in the printing and stuff, but no, I think it's more just like the way they coming to the art stuff. And then Robin as well looks a little bit kind of awkward as well, like the body shape and the face shape anyway. But it's just like kind of odd because a couple of first issues was splendid, to be honest. The art was kind of in a way flawless, to be honest. So I don't know if they were rushing to finish this up, but I really like it. I just I know like you fell through like after not reading comic books in a while because I wasn't reading while I was like really ill. And then when you come back to them and you start reading and you know why you want to go back and just, just get into the emotions of reading. It's the same way you were talking about in your last video, Damien, where you say like it's nice to read weekly comic books, not give a gap and then come back to it because when you see, like you say, you see that pile of stack of books and you're like, do I really want to do this? And your brain is like you play out with you and you're a fan of comic books, but you're like, oh, that's so much, man. It's so much
work
time.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was like at the beginning, like when I stopped reading weekly the comic books, I'm now just picking up monthly. It gives me that, like, there's no time. I mean, sometimes like I push them kind of like late to read, especially depends on the situations of your life anyway. But when you're in weekly rhythm, you read constantly and you want that constant information and you actually keep up really well with the information. When I do monthly, I like, hey, what was reading that? And you like, like you think like, oh, you have to step back, even though it's relaxed more, but you still kind of like, you're not in the same flow of that kind of thing. So I think that's why so Detective Comics can be, because if you keep up with your pull list, it's great. It's actually really good
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, I think ideally I'd like to read 2 or 3 comics a day, and there's enough time to kind of absorb the story in the background of my mind, but keep into kind of the groove of reading comics and read another couple the next day.
Exactly. So
but life doesn't always work out that way.
No, that's the thing. Sometimes I don't. For example, for me, with my son, sometimes my son just goes like into different, like it gets me angry or something like that, or I get to lose my patience, which is the main part, patience, like. So it's like, oh no, and then it depends which comic. Like for example, Turtles comic or Usagi comic book, that winds me down. So it's actually, if you know which comic book can actually chill you down, it's great. So it seems to be it's really working for me as well. It's like I know which one to pick up now. So if I pick up, I see I have Usagi's or some like Turtles to read, it's really just, it puts me in a different state of mind. So that helps.
Yeah, I wonder if people watching let us know how many comics you tend to get each week, if you get comics weekly. I don't think Miss So, I see Miss So on chats, but I don't think you have a channel, so I'm not sure how much you read. Like Comics Gold, sometimes I end up reading a lot in one day, and it is a little dangerous. I see some channels where people try to review all their new comics on New Comic Book Day, and I say they're going to get burnt out. They're going to get tired of it.
I've done that, and I got burned out quick. It's like, no, too much. It's too much pressure because it's too much information as well, especially if like more than 5 comic books. It's already, it depends. Right. It depends. Like DC comic books is kind of easy because it's really not that much. And I was surprised, to be honest. This Adventures comic books is actually quite wordy. Especially it depends on the storyline, but this one like has quite a lot of speech bubbles, and it's like, oh, okay. In a way, it's good because you feel like you're paying the right amount. Yeah, exactly. But in this day and age, like DC comic books, I think, or Marvel, it's kind of like breeze. You go through like, or Serial, from my favorite, one of my favorite titles. Well, that's a breeze. It's a good storyline. I guess that's why it goes through quickly, but it's a bit too intense.
The thing is with that one, though, even though it's a bit wordy, it reads pretty good. Like I find it flows really, really nicely. Right. But I think that's partially due to just so being into that Batman animated world that I'm fully absorbed in it. It doesn't feel like a chore. Like I don't ever remember reading it and going, holy shit, man, that was a slog to get through. Like it seems to flow really nicely.
Yeah.
Well, there's wordy where they're actually giving you a lot, and then there's wordy where they're just wasting your time and you're not getting very much out of it.
It's difficult to. I always.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe it's me because English is not my first language, but it's just because it's just constantly in your head all the time. I always thought, like I was reading the comic books, like I probably didn't understand. I was always thinking it's my fault. You surely didn't understand, and then I watch YouTube videos and people are talking like reviewing. It's like, oh, I didn't understand. It's like, oh, thank God, I wasn't insane, kind of thing. So sometimes I doubt myself as just like a second language thing, I think. But it's usually like, surely I could understand exactly what you're trying to say, but there's some of them like I don't know what the hell I just read. It's like, what is it? What you want to say? Please, Google Translate. Where is that Google machine? Come on, work. Technology, help me here.
It could be the bad writing, or it could be some English that you're less familiar with. Huh.
Yeah, and some points, of course, there's some, like ways of writing I sometimes struggle with as well.
And because there's plenty of writing where I'm like, what are you trying to say? It's all in my native language, but I still don't know.
It's funny. I always try to ask my husband, like, I don't understand. What do you mean? It's like, but it's your native language. Come on, give me something.
You got something to show us here?
Yeah, he's showing off.
Well, it sort of fits in with exactly what you're talking about. This is how I feel about this Justice League Infinity. It's so wordy, and I'm like, what the hell are you trying to tell me here? It's first of all, it's a great Stoko cover. Just a regular. It's not one of the variants or anything.
Is that one though supposed to continue off of the Justice League TV show, or is that a regular Justice League comic?
I don't know. I'm pretty. It's still in that animated style for sure. Right. So it's kind of in that universe, but it's so wordy and it's so like, I don't know what the hell you're trying to tell me or why I should even care about it, because it's so convoluted at this point. It's like I honestly can't follow it. I don't know even what to tell you about
Is
the
that
book.
the book by JMD Matthias?
That's correct. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Because I was eyeing that and thinking, oh, maybe I should jump on that because I really liked the Justice League TV show.
Oh, the art is great.
He's a great writer, and the art is beautiful in this. So like no complaints on either of those things. But it just seems so. The story itself is so convoluted that I'm like, it's bringing all these other universes and all this stuff, and some like Mirror Master type of guy, not Mirror Master, but somebody like that, where it's just, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I don't know why I should care, but it's beautiful to look through because I mean, again, like I love that animated style. I absolutely love it.
That color looks just right.
Exactly.
The coloring is
dark
beautiful.
Coloring that was showing us.
Yeah, exactly.
So I should give credit where credit's due. Where's the credits here?
Okay.
Oh, hopefully that might not show up. Let's see. So it's Matthias and James Tucker are the writers. Ethan Beavers is the artist. Nick Filardi is the colorist. And then A.W.'s DC Hopkins is the letterer. I don't know. None of that makes sense to me. But yeah, there you go. There's the credits there if it focuses. But
yeah.
I haven't heard of James Tucker. I wonder if he was involved in the animated show.
But like, look at that page.
That
you know what
incredible.
I mean? Like that's fantastic. It's so great. But yeah, it's just so convoluted. I can't make heads or tails of it.
Art is making me want to
pick
go
it
grab it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm picking it up anyway. It's on my pull list. I'm sticking with it because I don't know how many issues it is, but it's only a limited thing. Like everything seems to be these days, 10 or 12 issues or something. So I'll stick with it regardless.
Yeah, we sometimes are suckers, as I say, for art and stuff like that, but it just gives you that nice feeling, like especially so well executed. It's just so lovely to look at. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very cool. I'm shocked on this comment that John DaCosta has dropped 85% of his books.
Well,
because I know he's a big comic book purchaser. Maybe he's focused more on back issues anyway.
It happens though, man. Like you got to trim that at some point, right? Like it's really hard. Like you were saying, I think it gets to that point where you see that stack and it's like, damn, I haven't kept up. Like I see Travis on Twitter. That's a lot to catch up on. Like that's got to kind of feel overwhelming at some point, right? So
yeah. Travis is dedicated to single issues, but if I were in his position, I'd probably switch to trades until I had more time.
But then, he has the same way of folding, like putting in that stack of his collection. It has this mountain of comic books and single issues, and suddenly you have a trade. It's like, ooh. Yeah. A collector it's a struggle as well. But yeah, in this situation, it's crazy kind of thing. But ups for him, he's still keeping up, like he's trying to do at least. That's a true lover of comics, anyway. So.
Well, those books you were showing made me think of this. Even though it's not purposefully retro, the new Hulk series by Donnie Cates, drawn by Ryan Ottley, who's most well known for Invincible, and so, well, this is a little bit of a spoiler for the first issue, I guess, but what it turns out is that Bruce Banner, inside the Hulk's mind, has created one of those memory palaces, but the memory palace is like a spaceship, and he's turned the Hulk's body into a spaceship. So this is the Hulk inside the memory palace in a room that he can't escape from in the memory palace. But the angrier he gets, the more powerful. And here's Bruce Banner in the control room. Although the way they draw Bruce Banner's odd, But so Bruce Banner is in the control room of the Hulk's body, which is powered by the Hulk's mind off in a room in the memory palace where he's trapped, getting angrier and angrier, making this body get more and more powerful. And for whatever reason, I didn't quite understand why Bruce Banner is like wants to do something horrible. I don't even know what, and is fighting all the other superheroes. And at the end, I think he's stealing some armor that Iron Man made. I didn't know about this from some other Marvel comic, I guess. Did they fight the Celestials at some point recently? I don't know. But apparently, so I'm really spoiling this first issue, which came out practically a month ago, I think. So Bruce Banner is stealing this Iron Man armor that's based on celestial armor.
Oh wow!
And I think at the end of the issue he succeeds in stealing it, and is going off. I think, if I understood it right, now I'm trying to remember. I think he's going off to attack other dimensions in this giant celestial armor.
Oh wow! So he's really pissed off.
So it's really wild and crazy, and I kind of appreciated that. And the retroness of it seems like, I mean, it's very amped. It's like the old Sal Buscema Hulk, but amped up on steroids a little bit. So once I got over the fact that this is nothing like Immortal Hulk, it's super sort of gonzo, silly comic bookiness. I kind of enjoyed it a lot. But talk also about a fast read. I mean, there were so many of these there must have been 3 or 4 double splash pages out of 20 pages. So you can read it in a few minutes. But so I thought I would drop the Hulk after the Immortal Hulk ended, but I think I'm going to stick with it. It seems like it'll be fun. Smastronaut. It just seems like a kid's, just a silly kid's comic, but in a way that adult me enjoys. So,
is it gonna be like what always Donnie Cates takes the characters into something really crazy?
Really crazy, cosmic. Yeah. I'm not. It's hard to tell really where this is going. Ragamuffin says Hulk's helmet kind of looks like Wolverine's.
Yeah.
From the Weapon X. Yeah.
Yeah, because of have that thingy and whatever.
Oh, but Jared is here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, what were you going to say, Rasa?
The beauty of Ryan, the artist, he's going to be as fantastic. He has the strength is to do like quick art, and it seems to be like really flowing in the like action scenes. Is really good at. So it's going to be entertaining for people who likes the quick read and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, if they stick with the big action and try not to get deep, I think it'll actually be better.
Yeah.
Probably those animated comics that Terrence and you are reading are probably deeper than this one.
Yeah.
Most likely, yeah. We're taking subjects like the Batman ones, like taking really like subjects of that kind of like seriousness, and Batman is still brooding all the time, like, ooh, I am the Batman, and stuff like that. So.
Great line, Scott. Yeah, you got the power of the ship by pissing off the Hulk as much.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I wanted to ask you guys. I only get this one. I know the new one came out recently, the 7. But have you guys read it?
Yes, I just read those 2 issues.
So I only read the 6, and I'm
sure as hell have.
Yeah, the 7 I unfortunately haven't. I'm probably gonna receive it only next year because of the Christmas period, because I only get monthlies. Right. But
you got a different cover there, Terrence. I got
Jesus, Terrence. Yeah, you have both different.
Well, I mean, the Galaxy comics, they always have the
covers.
Yeah,
they always have the variants at Galaxy, and they're always cover price. And honestly, some of the variants for 2 Moons, they're like, this one is gorgeous. I absolutely love this cover.
I didn't realize that this was the cover B that I ended up getting.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right, cover B.
That's the main cover.
So much.
And this is the cover A of issue 7, which is interesting. So this took a huge jump, right? Is it like 20 years later?
Yeah.
It took me. I was confused for quite a bit in that issue 6. The woman doesn't look aged the way the man does.
Yeah.
That threw me off.
Very
like,
true.
I didn't realize it was the same woman.
Although she has a daughter, and you're like, oh, okay, she has a daughter now.
Right.
So
Eventually, when we got to the daughters, I realized, okay, that's the woman who I thought she was a nurse, not a doctor, but I guess that was just.
Well, 20 years later, I guess she
became a doctor.
Yeah, because that's what
she was a nurse in the
saying.
first 5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah, in this issue, she's telling him like I worked so hard to build this hospital for myself in that building, and you're asking me to move along. You know, like
Right.
And I haven't. Please don't spoil 7 if you can, because I haven't read it
No,
yet.
I won't
But
spoil it.
I really enjoyed this. And art is continuously being fantastic to me, even though I know your Billy Crabtree is not there, your friend.
Yes. Yeah.
but it's. I think it suits the tone still. I really like this.
Yeah,
I really like this panel. It's one of my favorite. And of course, the horses are so well drawn still, and the colors are really well, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just those scenes are so majestic, and the way they're telling the storyline, and they're like he's telling the story, and you have this in the background. Like, I'm not that anymore. And then it's so funny how he is struggling. I mean, even though like in the first 5 issues we have him struggling to be 2 moons, and now he's struggling actually to be a Virgo, like the person we actually found out from the beginning. So in that sense, that's kind of a consistent the way the Arcudi is telling the story. But in generally, I understand as well. I think that because when you haven't read it for a while, because you take a break, you get really confused. But this is the spoiler for people if they haven't read it. But I really like the scene of what he did to those 2 guys. It's like, what?
I was just about to mention that. That's my favorite scene in the issue.
Yeah.
Honestly, issue 6 out of the entire run, issue 6 is my absolute favorite. It is a phenomenal issue. It's so goddamn good. Like, I love just seeing the pages again. Remind me how much I absolutely loved this issue.
Now, I won't spoil it at all, but issue 7 is a harder read. It's
issue 7 is a really tough read.
A lot of characters at you coming from a lot of different directions.
And it also seems like it's very disjointed from issue 6. I was really confused, honestly. Like we were talking about earlier, keeping up. It's a book that I keep up with, and I honestly felt like I had taken a few months off and read issue 7 and went, what the hell is going on? Where are we now? I felt it was
issue
really
7
disjointed.
like maybe a year later, or I don't know. Because it also, I won't say too much, but it also seems like between issue 6 and 7, they spent some time together and developed a relationship of a sort.
Right.
That then they're kind of referring to in issue 7, but we don't really know what it is. And plus, as I said, they threw in a lot of extra characters.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
I still have faith, though.
Yeah, I still have faith too. Hopefully, it's a little bit more written for the trade in a sense.
You think so? Okay.
So that it will all gel together.
I'm looking forward to reading it, but this definitely number 6 was. I was like, oh yes, exactly what I really was looking forward to. Like when you overly looking forward to the title and you think you're gonna get disappointed the first thing. Like that's what we usually do. But it really was lovely to read and go back into that world again. And then the back matter. I don't know if you read.
Yeah, I did
back
read
matter?
the back matter.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
This is one of the few books where I'm like, oh wow, this back matter really is really good.
Super interesting. Yeah. It's good to hear him give some context and also kind of acknowledge a few things, right? Like in issue number 7, he talks about the Buffalo Soldiers and stuff, and kind of acknowledges that part of history. And like, listen, we acknowledge we're not overlooking it. We're trying to build it in. It's also like trying to kind of talk about, we want to write a story that's fictional, that's, even though it's based on a specific time period, we're still writing a fictional story. You know what I mean? So I think he does great with these write-ups.
Yeah, and he's very, a lot of write-ups are
Very
kind
thoughtful.
of, I don't know, they're trying to be clever or cute, and he's just really honest here and really straightforward, talking about the history and everything. And Celia was asking about reading in trades, and I think this would be a wonderful read in trades. And it does feel, if it continues the way it's going, it does feel like the second arc, the second trade, will be an even better story than the first.
Yeah, totally. That's my thought as well. I think that was also the difficult thing about 7 for me, because I loved the tone of number 6 so much that I felt like it was a real kind of turn from the first 5 issues. And I'm like, wow, if this is the way that they're going, it's freaking incredible, And then 7 kind of took me out of that headspace a little bit, right? So
one of my thoughts is I hope it's selling well and they take their time, because I feel like this story shouldn't be rushed. There's a lot of elements going on now.
Yeah. Well, the way he's coming back, so I don't think they were intentionally doing the like 2 volumes. It felt like number 5 was kind of like it was in a way.
It was over, right?
Yeah, but it was the like end of the story. Even though we were, do you remember, guys? I don't know if you do remember, we were like a bit baffled the way it ended because it kind of like it kept like a little bit of more opening. But I'm glad it's back. I'm definitely gonna try to support it in singles, so make sure that it's coming out in regular fashion because I think it's a really good story so far. It's entertaining, and especially that reveal was really good. And as I say, that the page when he came out, like, whoa, I don't know what you were gonna come up with because before he was kind of like those beasts he was like trying to defeat in the first volume. Let's say this way, in the first 5 issues, it was kind of like like in a way, I don't know where you're gonna go after that with that. But then, and the number 6 is actually basically answered that to you, so which is great.
So my interpretation in number 6 is that during those 20 years, he's become a master of this kind of supernatural world that we were getting glimpses of in the first.
Yeah, because all those ancestors and all this, like his heritage, which he was ignoring in the first 5 issues we were doing, and now he's like in the 20 years he became more clever and said, okay, maybe I should just continue being who I am supposed to be.
And his face is covered in scars. We don't know where those came from.
And then that would be nice to see how he's probably going to go back and reveal us a little bit of his history as well, I think.
Probably.
So. It would be interesting to know because at the end of the day, when you show up a character with that many scars, you kind of like would like to wonder what kind of experiences the guy had. But yeah, the way he's storytelling is really good so far. So
for people who like to get single issues, I think you could start with issue 6. I mean, you'd feel a little confused as to who the characters are, but it really is a brand new story because it's 20 years later and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it could be a good thing just starting with volume 2, since it's such a separate story.
Yeah, I totally agree. You could jump in at 6 easily. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so happy.
Honestly, talking about it again, I'm kind of reliving the excitement. I'm really glad that I gave it a shot because it's a top-notch book. Even if there's some kind of missteps or whatever, it's a real top-notch comic.
Yeah, it's
right, and such a unique story. I mean, it's not like yet another X, Y, or Z. It's like this is different from everything else. I do feel a sense of dread because I know nothing ever turns out well for the Native Americans historically. So it's like, all these Native American characters we're meeting are screwed. Probably all the African American ones too.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, unfortunately, if he's going to continue going in the history, I mean, take some notes from history, that doesn't look great for the future of our main character. But that powers he has, I wonder if we can. My son is going crazy. Hopefully he's gonna be doing something crazy because of the way my mind, what he can do with my mind and people's mind especially. So very entertaining.
Well, and already in issue 7, there's a little bit of reference to reservations and stuff like that, right? So just a very minor reference to it. It's not a big part of it or anything. So, but yeah, you can feel him taking a couple of more chunks out of his history there for the story.
Hello.
Right. We're kind of at the AFPC is here, and a lot of other great people. Jack Yo came in, Herminio came in. But yeah, we're near the end of the sort of era of the Indians having much hope at all, right? They're started. I don't know when that what do they call it? The big march where they marched a large number of Indians, a death march kind of thing happened.
Yeah,
it's kind of depressing,
On a lighter note,
I was thinking this is just another aside, but there's all these alternate history novels like "What if the Nazis won?" and that kind of thing. American Indians are living that novel. They are living the world of what if the Caucasians, the Europeans, won. What would happen to us? And this is what I mean. It's history is full of nasty stuff, and they are at the receiving end of one of the nastier chapters. Anyway, so my white guilt. So sorry to go in that direction. Yeah, we were talking about Two Moons AFPC.
Yeah.
So I guess that was kind of Rasa's turn. Do you have something else up your sleeve?
No, yeah, Terrence can go now.
Okay,
really all of
so I've
ours,
been
but-
into
Mm-hmm.
I've been into graphic novel world and how it's been for you guys. We were talking about kind of how it's difficult to keep up when it comes to single issues and stuff.
Exactly.
I gave a couple of books back to the library that were due that I hadn't actually dipped into, but I did read. I don't know if Earl Grey is here, but I think I'll start with this one. I was going to hit one of the Earl Grey references or recommendations rather, but I read this yesterday, Distant Neighborhood by Giro Tanaguchi. And man, oh man, I've only read 3 of his graphic novels now. I would say that if I was anybody looking to dip into his books, I would recommend this one or The Walking Man easily. Honestly, this one is maybe a little easier to get into because it's kind of one big story of this guy who's about 48, who kind of goes, he kind of just mindlessly is on his train and misses his stop and gets off in the town that he grew up in and goes to visit his mother's grave. And when he kind of falls asleep, he wakes up in the body of of his 14-year-old self and kind of relives his life, what was happening at 14 years old. The kind of main theme about it is his father left the family, like just one day just left, and nobody knew where he went and nobody knew what happened. So he knows that date is coming and is trying to kind of wrap his head around it. But there's so much kind of Walking Man in here as far as just enjoyment of the space. It's funny when you get to like an older person's mentality in the body of a young person, you sort of expect a couple of things, and he doesn't do any of that. He really relishes in kind of the kind of physical ability that he has. He sort of relives a lot of things, and just at lunchtime, for example, he always goes out and just sits in a park and just kind of enjoys the weather and stuff. So there's still a bit of that Walking Man kind of enjoying your surroundings and living the moment and stuff. This is a really touching story. Like it again, one of those stories where there was a moment in it that just brought me to tears. You know what I mean? Like so well told. Here's him just kind of relaxing on his lunch and just looking at the clouds. Man, I love this guy. This is he's a hell of a writer. His ability to kind of draw you into this world. One of the things that I was thinking kind of a part of the way through was one of the styles that sometimes people do is they'll kind of put the older person, you'll see them visually, and then everybody else sees them as the younger person. So you have that kind of link to the older personality. This one, the entire time they portray him as a 14-year-old boy, but every once in a while you just get a little bit of insight into what he's thinking and things that he's saying, and people around him, the other kids, just talking about you talk weird and you sound like an adult, and what are these things you're saying? Super interesting. A really interesting portrayal of this kind of very science fiction jumping through time, although there's no talk about how that happens or why it happens. It's just you accept that it happens, and he's now a 14-year-old boy again. There's no, and I didn't find myself ever thinking of why did that happen, because it doesn't matter. It ultimately doesn't matter at all. Man, I mean, I can't rave about this one enough. Like, The Walking Man is a really good read, but honestly, I think this would be, out of the 3 books I've read, I would say this is tops for me, just because of the blending of this very, very, very clear story running through the whole thing, but these moments that are just really beautiful, and especially the moments that he has with his father and stuff, just incredible. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil too much of the ending, but he does have some really touching moments with his father, and that's really, it's so well handled. Yeah, I mean, I could keep going on, but I think that's kind of the gist of it. But honestly, I would highly recommend this book. This is really incredible story. So
did you get that
very
from the library?
The library had it. Sorry, say that again.
Oh, you just said the library had it.
Yeah, it was from my library. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's still in print?
It's a good question. Who put it out here? Let me see. Fanfare. Let's have a look on the inside. It's 2017 is when my library got it. It's a story from 1998. So let's hope. Yeah, this Fanfare edition is 2016, the English edition. Ponent Mon. So PONENTMON.com. So maybe it is.
Muffin says it is in print.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
McPuffin Muffin seems to be a big fan of that author. What was his name again? The author's name?
Giro Tanaguchi.
Oh, and he says they have an expanded edition now. Giro Tanaguchi.
Oh, wow. An expanded. I'd love to see that. I should check that out.
I checked my library and boo, they don't have it. Bastards. Bastards, I say.
Maybe for you, LahRasa, check bookdepository.com. They might have, because I know they have a few of his titles there.
No, I already know. I already looked. Yeah, you can buy it, definitely. There's also Journal of My Father. There's a Venice, a Zoo in Winter. There's lots of it, eh? Quite a few
he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
This is there's only a couple of books that they have at the library. I think, well, actually, this might be the only one they have at my library downtown.
So you're saying The Walking Man is, this one is better to start than Walking Man?
I would say for something that's maybe more like narrative, this one is a really good start. I love The Walking Man, though, because I love the short stories, and I love the idea of doing a comic where you're just kind of walking around your town and just taking in the sights. Like, they're really, really touching little short stories, like going out and seeing some kids playing soccer, sitting in a tree and just like looking out, like taking off from work. Kind of, there's this idea that he has throughout these two books where it's this, you're sort of drifting through life. You know what I mean? Like the character in Walking Man, as well as in this one, just kind of mindlessly and effortlessly just forgets what they're supposed to be doing and just kind of drifts and lets things happen to some degree. It's a really interesting premise, like that idea of approaching your life like that, where, I know I have these responsibilities, but I'm sort of going to drift and see where kind of things take me. I find that a very interesting way to approach a story, and not in like a Hitchcock kind of way where you're being manipulated and some horrible things are going to happen. These are all really nice things that happen because it's a very, very touching story.
Wow. Next to Ito, he might be the most printed mangaka in English. Huh.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
On the note about libraries, I just mentioned that at my library, on their website, they have a place where you can request books that they should order. And so I have requested books, and a few months later, the library has them. That's always fantastic. Gotten what I've told them to get.
Wow.
There is something similar in here, but I'm not sure if because I guess some of the things they take it in more, like it's more going to be more popular. So graphic novels, I don't think it's like, I think I tried to request something through their website and it didn't work for me, or it didn't happen or something like that. So, but I heard you can actually order some stuff as well, like you said as well. So libraries are great. I mean, if you feel like reading something or never explored, it's perfect to go in and just find something. Yeah. Because you don't pay anything. I mean, for like, I don't know how your guys is, but you have yours. You take it home. A couple of weeks, you have to go take it back. Like that's the thing. But it's perfect. I think it's really lovely. Actually, it's surprising how. I mean, like new student times when for example, you're studying, you can see youth or older people, but nothing in the middle. Like when I go in there, like I'm not studying, and I'm like, I feel like I'm odd person in between, and like I'm not in that group of age kind of thing, like. But I just like it. And my son actually, I always make sure I take my son, so it's a habit already from the beginning that you go in something like that, like libraries, and there's books and stuff like that. So I want him to get that idea as well.
The other thing our library has done is they've waived late fees. I don't know if this is kind of something that's happening all over, but this idea that if you bring it back late, you don't have to worry about paying the late fees. They want to make it very open to people taking out books and not have kind of like that guilt of, oh my God, I owe $2 on a book, and you start feeling guilty about it. They want people coming to the library. So even if you're late, there's no late fees anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of libraries in the U.S. do what Jared's talking about, where you really have access to libraries all over the place if you're a patient and can figure out the system.
Mm.
I think it's funny that we've got Ragamuffin and McPuffin Muffin.
Muffin.
It's a big
Mhm.
muffin day. They both have good comments.
Mhm.
And
McPuffin
McPuffin
Muffin
Muffin is
has a neat,
explaining the
that's the
philosophy
one.
there.
Yeah.
It describes the transient, fleeting sense of life, and despite that, to treasure those small moments, which is,
Yeah.
to go back, this mono no aware Japanese concept.
Mm.
That's very cool. Thank you, McPuffin
It sounds
Muffin.
like
That's great.
McPuffin has really dived deep into this author's work.
Mhm.
So that's very cool. Well, I dealt into the other overly popular mangaka this week. I was wandering into a store. I was just looking for more boxes. You know, it's hard to find comic book boxes right now, like short boxes and long boxes. And they had a new shipment of a whole. Right, I need one of those.
That's why we keep on having that.
Of a whole bunch of
idea.
Junji Ito books, which are hard to find in the U.S. They're so popular, they sell out right away. So
Wow.
even though I haven't finished reading the ones I've already bought, I bought a whole bunch more. So I got this one, Frankenstein, and
it looks crazy.
I didn't even know he had one called Frankenstein. I assume it's an
No, me neither.
adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe not. It says, oh wait, Master of horror manga bends all his skills of bringing the anguished and solitary monster to life with the brilliantly detailed chiaroscuro for which he's known. Plus, it also has six tales of Oshikiri, a high school student. So I'm just doing a haul here for the moment.
Nice. Yeah.
And then something called Shiver.
Right. Yes. I got a free
good luck
comic
with that
book day of Shiver.
Uh-huh.
I guess they're gonna freak out now.
Is this also short stories? I don't even know. So I just got these the other day. And then Fragments of Horror, which has, whoops, why did I do that? Has this interesting cover, which is a reference to the Scream. There's the full picture there. So I haven't even really looked through these, but what I also got, and I did look through, is the art of Junji Ito, Twisted Visions, which the cover is all one. Let me.
Is that a Viz book as well too?
It's also a Viz book.
Nice. Oh man, that is fantastic.
So the interesting thing, though, is even though it's just an art book, it still opens in the Japanese direction.
Oh,
so you have to open it from what feels like the back.
That's awesome.
Look through, and then there's here. I'll go to the overhead camera for this one.
Yeah.
So I have looked through this, and it's interesting. It's not quite what I expected. Because some of them are covers. They're covers, pinups, interstitial images, and they're organized. There's a bunch from Tomy, which I don't think I have that one.
Right,
and then a bunch from Uzumaki, and then all the other stuff. So I don't know if Tomy is equally.
I think
famous.
Tomy and Uzumaki were his first ones that were translated into English, if I'm not mistaken.
And then these end pages are quite interesting.
So good.
I like the silver. His black and white art with the silver background is really cool.
Oh man.
But what I noticed is a lot of his images are a girl just staring out at you. Young teenage girls, at least that's what I assume they are. This one is one of my favorites. I don't know if it shows up, but there's these faces looking out the windows and stuff, and it has this beautiful texture. And there are notes in the back, and he says he didn't like this one, but his publisher did. So, there's the girl staring out at you as she's being embraced by some creepy looking guy.
Yeah.
There's the girl looking more creepy, staring out at you. It's a bunch of naked girls staring out at you. So this may, in a sense, part of it might be this book Tomi, which I haven't read.
Yeah.
Maybe in particular. They're very doll-like looking. I like this one here. So yeah, just a lot of. It's a disturbing in a bit of a perverted old man way too. I mean, being an old man and looking at all these young girls. And it's interesting. So there's an interview with him at the back also, and he says that he talks about like what kind of paper he uses, and he'll talk about doing digital and then say he doesn't like it. But these two images, it says, are digital. So that's what his work looks like when it's digital. And he says it looks too smooth or something.
Yeah, texture is a key, especially.
He can't recreate the feeling of paper digitally the way he would like to. And he specifies a kind of paper he works on. Now I'm trying to remember what it was called. I wondered if Rasa would know what it was. Where did it go?
Don't know. Japanese paper. It's watercolor paper because it's usually watercolor. So.
Well, it sounds British. Kent paper. He kept talking about Kent paper. I've never heard of Kent paper.
Yeah, they do like the watercolor, and they're really good at it. That's the thing, and that's the frustrating part. And then they use that watercolor because at the end of the day, you're basically controlling the colored water, and you know, like to your things, and those manga guys are just like it's just so beautiful. It looks easy, of course, because they have experiences from drawing continuously, but they just invoke so much. Like he says, that's why probably he likes it so texture of the paper, because the paper, the watercolor absorbs the watercolor. You can actually see it when even you're scanning it, so you get that texture quite right. So
yeah,
but you know,
and he talks about like stretching paper before he does it in watercolor because he knows it's gonna ripple.
They water the paper from behind as well, just to make sure that everything absorbs really well, the water, because the watercolor paper can be a bit blotchy sometimes, but if you water it before you use and you dry it out again, so you introduce some more moisture to it, it flows better, apparently. I'm not a watercolor specialist whatsoever, but I did delve into stuff like how you should use it properly. So, but yeah.
And I can see why. I mean, there's something about the quality of his lines that, and he also talks about when he tries digital, like he doesn't like the way the pen slides too quickly across the glass. So he's very much about lines. Oh, I really like this one.
Yeah. That's a bad dream, man. If I dreamed that, dude, I wouldn't sleep.
Imagine if you spent like 10 hours a day doing drawings like this.
Yeah, exactly. I was while I was unwell, I was watching a lot of Star Trek Voyager, and I was dreaming I was in that bloody Star Trek Voyager doing part of the crewman, because I'm a fan of Star Trek in generally, and then I'm a big fan of Voyager anyway. Yeah, but Voyager's honestly, I was so like, I just really liked the series in generally. I was like having just every day, I was just having a dream I was fighting some aliens. It's like in actual.
In your dreams, are you just like a
ensign
crewman in the background?
Yeah, ensign. You know those ensigns. Not the captain. I was just an ensign. You know, like the red. Yeah, the ones who die quite often.
So this one Uzumaki. I think that's his most famous one, and I can't find that anywhere.
Oh, really?
It's just always sold out.
Interesting.
So I
was surprised. We were just walking the other day into our like shoppings and stuff like that, and I saw Junji Ito name everywhere, almost plastered. I was like, what the hell? These mainstream shops, really? And you have those freaky eyes and stuff like that, and it's like, oof, jeez.
Yeah, he's really got a name out there now. The what's that? I think he has an animated series coming soon too. I don't know if it's just Uzumaki or if it's a bunch of different short stories, but
that would be interesting to see how they do all this in anime. Yeah, it seems like he's almost become like a brand name or something for Western comic book buyers now. He's the one person I can remember.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
this stuff is from Uzumaki that you're showing now. It's so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oosh, that's creepy. Oh my god,
yeah.
that's. Oh.
As you guys might have gathered, I've become really big on trying to collect art books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe partially because they tend to go
Oh
out of
man, look
print.
at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's gorgeous, man.
Mm. That's basically a perfect doodle. You know, when you have like so much time, you just like go spirals,
So good.
drawing. You know,
Yeah.
just pass the time while you're having dinner. Like, oh yeah, okay.
But then there's all these disturbing bodies down here that
Yeah.
are
Right.
partially spiralized also.
Anytime we talk about Junji
That
Ito,
is
I
intense.
always reference that show. The manga show, the mangaka show, which I'm totally blanking on right now. You really got to hunt for the Junji Ito episode. It's so Manben.
Oh, is it like
it's so good.
documentaries about mangakas?
Yeah, about mangaka, and there's one that talks to Junji Ito, so they film him kind of doing his art, and then they show the footage back to him, and they sit and talk about it and talk about his process. But you see him creating his art. Yeah, Manben, it's honestly highly recommended. The whole show is great, but that episode is really good. You can find it on I can't remember the website. Just type in "watch Manban English" and it'll come up.
Oh, is it?
I wonder if that's Junji Ito there. I don't know. Then the rest of the book is just called Other Works.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize some of the images from the few books that I have read. Still a lot of these young girls staring out at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very dreamy.
And
but
I don't know if that's
freaky.
just a Junji Ito thing or, I love this one where their heads are floating. I don't know if it's just a Junji Ito thing or a cultural thing of the kind of the young girl staring out at you.
Mm-hmm.
There's one somewhere in here that is of a schoolgirl all bloody, and he said he was going to be a cover, and then he decided not to use it as a cover because there'd been some scandal about abuses of schoolgirls.
Oh shit!
That's pretty amazing. So, well, I need to find time to read all these Junji Ito books I've been collecting. I read this book here. So these must just be covers of different issues. That's disturbing. Well, anyway, I probably should. I can't do every page. Oh, there's a boy finally staring out at us.
Oh, look.
I'll be right back here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, did I flip over something that?
No, he said he's gonna be back.
Oh. I expected more black and white work in here. It seems like mostly it's collecting all his color pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm interested in his black and white work. And I was hoping for maybe some initial sketches or images that he didn't end up putting into a story. But I did gather from the interview in the back that most of his ideas come out of the story. So he wouldn't just make up a monster or a creepy scene without a story to go with it.
Oh, look. Nice cat.
He does. I didn't buy it, but maybe I should. He had a book about his cat. And I thought, oh, well, that's not the horror book. And I can only afford, I spent a lot of money on these books. But I think that might be H.P. Lovecraft there.
Oh.
Looks like some pictures I've seen of H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, but he can really do scary stuff.
Again.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're interested in Junji Ito and or art books, this is probably worth finding. What did I pay for it? The list price is $35. So it's not cheap, but it's not a horrible price.
Mm-hmm.
Use which way to put the cover back on.
Oh yeah, I like slipcase, but I don't like them. So at the same time, I have a love-hate relationship with them.
Yeah, I prefer books with the cover just printed on the hardback.
Yeah.
because the slipcase, the dust jacket is inevitably going to get damaged a little bit.
ComicKkrakk,
and I know that for book collectors, when you're reselling a book, if it doesn't have its dust jacket, or if the dust jacket's damaged, it affects the value of it.
Yeah, it's almost like a cover of the comic book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the cover of a comic book.
Yeah. ComicKkrakk went to get his alcohol stash. It looks like it brings the bottle. It's a new one. Oh, look at that. Tequila. Oh my God. Don't start showing tequila. I'm going to start puking in front of you. Like,
Did you throw up once drinking tequila?
Oh, I almost went hospitalized as well in the same time. So yeah, very good experience. Had ambulance called for me.
Oh,
yeah, I almost got I had ambulance. They called ambulance to just make sure that wakes me up. Yeah.
Terrence is trying to make you sick.
Yeah, he knows exactly.
Nice label.
Yeah, it's Mexican as well, man. Añejo.
The real thing.
Yeah, the real thing. Not like...
Yeah, it's a new one that the liquor store had, so I figured I'd give it a try. I sold a bunch of stuff on Marketplace lately, some games and some comics, so I figured I'd splurge and get myself a fancy one.
Do games have good resale value?
Some do, yeah. There were some that sold instantly, like they were up, posted in 5 minutes later. I had people contacting me, so yeah, some do, and then there's some that, like usual, my weird taste people here don't give a single shit about, right? So yeah, it makes it difficult.
Do games tend to go out of print, so to speak, like books do?
They totally do, yeah, absolutely, because they only make a certain amount, and you know, so it just depends on if they're popular or not, right?
It's funny. The market is. Oh, shush. The market is huge, but they're still managing to somehow make money out of the games as well. Because the gaming market is absolutely enormous, and they still manage to get somehow pricey stuff on the games, and they get sold out. That's the thing. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So go on, give us a taste.
Yeah.
Sniff.
Oh, okay. It smells fantastic.
Was that your first sip of it? Did it live up to your hopes?
Yeah. Make sure it's cold, man. Make sure it's cold.
Oh my God, that is so nice. That's very smooth. I love tequila. It's one of my favorite things to drink. So delicious.
So I'm not gonna come and visit you then, because the smell of stench of tequila.
I just won't put any in the house. I'll make sure I drink it all before you get here.
You drink absinthe instead? Was it your brother or someone giving you some kind of?
No, I was ordering it. I actually was going to do an absinthe order, but absinthe.com, the website that I ordered from, is no longer around. I actually looked about a week ago because I was going to make an order, and it doesn't exist anymore. And I just didn't have the patience to try out a new website. So I sent them a message because I get their mailing list. I think their last mailing list was September or October. So I sent him an email to see if, like, hey, what's happened? Where have you gone? Because Christmas time is when I usually I get myself a bottle of chartreuse because I love that for Christmas. And then I'll usually do kind of an absinthe order, but they're not around. I'm very, very disappointed. So, because they had a really, really good selection of stuff, like a very wide selection from all across Europe, like Germany and France. And, you know, like it was really an exceptional website. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you always doing one of your videos and you doing your absinthe pouring and then through that sugar cube, and I'll make sure you have all the right tools.
It's so delicious. It's like, the thing is, when you get a good one, like any good alcohol, when you get a good one,
of course,
you just need one drink, and it's just nice to kind of, the aromas, like I can smell this tequila from here. It's really, really nice aromas and flavors, and, you know, so yeah. But you don't need a lot of it. Like, this will last me quite a while, right? Like this big bottle, because I don't drink that much.
It's like a
glass of water was down there.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you're gonna just break it.
Oh well, that's fine.
It's like Mazel Tov.
Yeah. It's funny. I was gonna get some mezcal. They had a couple of bottles there, AFPC. I don't know it. I haven't ever tried it. I know it's in kind of the same family as tequila, but I was going to try it, and this one won out. I decided to go with this instead.
I am going gentle route. I'm drinking South African liqueur. Like, you know, like nice. You have those coffee liqueurs everybody drinking, but I like that African fruit, which is actually naturally goes, I forgot, amarula. It basically is called amarula.
Okay.
So as one of the best liqueurs anyway, because it's not as sweet as other ones. Like Christmas times, I don't know, in England and here, everybody goes crazy for those coffee liqueurs and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I like my South African one if I can find in the shops. So I go gentle. It's really good. It's that fruit. Is this? I don't know. I forgot the name. It is the amarula fruit anyway. So it's a fruit which is naturally where the elephants roam around in Africa. Those big trees, and they make alcohol of that one. Really good. Highly recommend it if you like something like to introduce a liqueur. This is very good.
Do.
It has a really nice flavor.
Wow, nice. Yeah.
It has a big elephant on the label.
Okay.
And it's like a big brown bottle. I don't know. Maybe I'd make a picture and I send it to you, Krakk, if you.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I would love that.
So it's one of the best South African liqueurs. Really good.
We need more horror stories about liqueurs. And, liquor.
Yeah.
Like the Cthulhu Mezcal. I think that's a great idea. I could imagine some Junji Ito drawings of that worm coming out of the bottle.
Right.
Like there is Polish vodka, and they put wheat inside it, so you actually can see it inside when you're drinking it. It's really good with apple juice. One thing about Polish vodka, you buy good Polish vodka, make sure you have a very good apple juice, and it's the best drink to like just it feels like you're drinking apple juice, but you're drinking vodka and you're like, ooh,
really?
It's become like, ooh, it's so funny. Why so funny everything? And you start like really get drunk.
I never would have thought of that mix. Huh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Very good. Honestly, I highly recommend if you do guys get hold of Polish vodka and get really good apple juice, mix those together. It's so good together. It's beautiful drink. Yeah, very good.
I'm picturing Jack Yo and his grandpa tripping together on old-fashioned moonshine.
Yeah.
My mom brought my husband a Lithuanian vodka, and he drinks that one like liqueur, and I cringe. It's like, oh, so good, try it. It's like, no, go away, it's vodka, like I can't do this. You have to mix it with something. Or like you used to shoot Zubrovka. Yes, exactly. That's the one. I forgot the name. Like always when we chat. Yeah, so Lithuanian vodka,
probably
and
kills all the germs, though, right?
Probably, but it's very smooth, to be honest. Like I tried Smirnoff's, all that stuff, like typical vodkas, but he said myself, like to me as well, it's like the smoothest vodka you can get. You can drink like that smooth. I was like, I can't, because I know I'm from there. I mean, I've drank that before, but we filtered through gold. Apparently that's a system.
Really? Through gold?
Yeah. You get in sometimes you can buy a fancy bottle with a gold flakes inside, those edible gold, like they put on chocolate. We put it in alcohol, apparently. So
kill the germs and most of the brain cells.
Yeah. Oh yeah, talking comic books.
No brain cells. Hey, gray man. That's just a bad joke. He just drinks beer, so he's got some brain cells left.
You guys read this? I presume you did.
Yes.
So good. This is so quick to read, though.
Issue 2?
Yeah, I don't know if it's issue 3 is out already or
no, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
It is a quick read, but I find myself that I've read each issue 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, this is so good. It gives you the characters at such a different dimension, which I didn't expect, because that the number 1 issue, he was end up in that like with the bus travel, and he was sweating all over the place. And in here you have it's just like simple panels, but the art is so great. Mm-hmm. It's so good to read, and as I say, like you barely can see like one bubble, 2 bubbles in a couple of pages, but it tells such a story in here, and I wasn't expecting. I was kind of surprised, and then it's like you see that computer screen. He gets this USB, and it's like, oh, he's a pervert. First thing I thought before I actually read really, like those like hidden things, and then you see what he's looking at, and then his reactions are great, don't you guys think? The way the artist displays his reactions and all, and I really like the shadowing here. It's just such a good book. I mean, it's not it's quite a spoiler, so I'm not gonna go right to the end. But this gave me a bit of a laugh. With this copper coming in, it's like all like macho manners, like almost like and stuff, and it's like, oh, you finished, I had a run and stuff like that. This kind of conversation is really good. I actually it's I'm surprised how tame it is from Recommender, because it does kind of like in like the previous comic books I've read of him, it's quite a speechy, to be honest, quite a lot of word bubbles. But this one is it's a completely different way of storytelling, and I think it's really depend on this artist, because it's really tells quite amazing stories without just with like silent, like paneling, and
like
you
Remender totally trusts him to do all the storytelling.
And it does really like always picks up the right guy for the job. It seems to be, like it's really clever at that. So collaborations really does do really good research. And this mom's conversation, that was quite heartbreaking, to be honest. When he goes to visit her, and then he gives that just like huge stash of cash and it's like, take care of her. It's just those little moments. It's like really good. It's like almost like a flares of the like movie scenes. You can kind of like see the scene there, like and the reactions and this guy's introduction. I don't know. It's just really spot on. It was another one. I was like, like you read number 1 issue, you have expectations, you go in the second one, and you're like, I'm not sure if like how it's gonna go. And you after this one, I was like, oh, I can't wait for another one, because this is how it goes with this one. Really, really good. It gives you that what do you say? Like without telling much, it gives you a lot.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It doesn't make you think too much, but it gives you like like you want to know what's going to happen next, where is going to take it further.
Well, at the end, I guess we're trying not to give it away, but I was like, is this what I think it is?
Yeah,
like,
and I'm doubting myself,
because this or is it that?
Yeah, but which is really good, because I think it's a really clever way of using the storytelling part of the comic books, which you can tell. It's very nice. I'm surprised how spot on I feel about this comic book as well. So I'm looking forward to. And it's one of the other things which I can get in of his work, because I was really disappointed with that. What is that guy's that funny jokey
Scumbag?
Yeah,
that kind of fizzled. It started out strong and fizzled.
Yeah, it's not for me. That kind of. I just really kind of a similar vibe to the comic book, never other things to think of kind of thing. It has this kind of similar vibe. But this one has intrigue, which I really like. And I really do enjoy this Andre Lima Rojo. Very good artist.
I think last time we discussed him, someone pointed out he's been on various Marvel comics.
Oh, really?
So that's very surprising. He must be able to do a variety of different kind of approaches. I think this it'll be a good one when it comes out in trade, or if you can find the back issues. I wonder how long it will go for. Like I don't want it to end too quickly, but it's hard to tell if there's a big story or a small story going on.
Yeah, because it gives you that, as I say, like the end, which we don't want to spoil, especially this that scene. There's a couple of scenes they are going into. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Where is going to take this? But as I say, we'll see. But so far, it's spot on. Those couple of 2 issues are just it gets me excited as well. So because Deadly Class is coming out with the end of it as well, so I'm gonna have something else to basically add up after that, because I always tend to have it, and it seems to be Rick Remender's artist he picks is all the like Marvel experiences. It seems to be from that time when he was writer. He probably already picked the ones he might want to work with. It seems to be already. Okay.
See you later, Miss So. Thanks for joining us. Maybe it was AFPC who pointed out those. He had a short run on Spider-Man. That's really surprising. And I think I remember him on Avengers AI, and I remember really liking the Avengers AI artwork, but I still wouldn't have expected what we got from that. A Generation Gone, maybe I should search that out. That was, I think, an Image book that lasted for a short while.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, but so very good. If people can get hold of them, those tissues, I don't know. Maybe there's second. I don't know. Second printing, third printing, whatever. They probably want to be available. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I really like it. I was just like so happy, and I was like, I will always like leave at the end those kind of things, because I know it's a quick read, because it seems to be has the same feel to it. And it's just so rewarding afterwards. Like, oh, good feeling after reading it. It's like, oh, I want more, please. That part of comic books I really like.
Totally. That's such an important thing, like that I've really noticed lately, that I've read a couple of things that have just had a different I've had a different relationship with, that have really resonated pretty well. That it's really, again, it's these highlights that you get every once in a while of like comics in general, but it leaves you less interested in kind of trying out some of the more, average kind of shitty books, right? Like it's nice because I love that book. I'm can't wait for the next one.
That's the thing. It's a good feeling when you're like looking forward to it to coming out. Not like, oh, it's another month kind of thing or something like that. It's sad when it goes that way. Like from my point of view, it's like, yeah. Okay, Krakk, it's your turn.
So if Earl Grey is still around, so I talked about this one before, this Diabolical Summer. I ordered another one of their books, like the same creative team. It came in called Atomic Empire. So both of them are out by IDW. My comic guy was able to get both of them fairly easily. So they're, as far as I know, they're not out of print and pretty easy to get your hands on. It's the same kind of art style, although this one, I don't know what it is. The pages feel a little stiffer as far as like the binding and stuff goes, but it's the same kind of art style throughout. Here we go. Average shitty books, yeah. So this one is almost like it's like a science fiction story where our main character, there's this blending of reality and fiction that happens, and he's this guy who is in touch with another, like the distant future, like thousands of years in advance, where they have this ability to project themselves into the past and into somebody's mind. So he's in this he gets infatuated with early pulp science fiction books when he was a kid. So he gets in touch with this entity from the distant future and starts kind of living this history. He starts making maps and everything of kind of this kind of empire, and this entirely different world. So it starts to blend in with his reality because he works for the government, and there's this group of people. He becomes this famous kind of psychological case.
I've got to read this book. You've got me drooling at the thought of this book.
The flying couch, I think, is what this paper that gets written about him is, and it's so interesting. It's such a good story. Like Diabolical Summer was fantastic. It was really, really a great read. I think Diabolical Summer is still the one that I would kind of recommend first, but this one was still really, really good. And again, it's because of that blend of this reality. And I love these color palettes on these pages here. These kind of pinks and purples and greens, I think, are gorgeous. They really work well together. Yeah, so I mean, when you kind of work your way through the story, you're not sure what's reality and what's kind of made up in his head. And especially when you get to the ending, I won't spoil the ending, but it wraps up really well. So you get this almost like espionage kind of thing, because there's this this character here has kind of a group of people that he hypnotizes so he can get kind of this information, and kind of his goal is to accelerate technology in kind of our world. So once he finds our main character and taps into this, that he knows these supposed facts about the future of humanity, he wants to introduce some of that technology to our times, or at least the times that take place in this book. So there's this kind of atomic age vibe throughout this whole thing. I won't flip further backwards than that towards the end than that, because I don't want to spoil anything accidentally. The jet propelled couch. So that's kind of the paper that's written about him when he goes to see a therapist, and the therapist actually gets into a spot where he's not necessarily into kind of quote unquote curing him. He becomes enveloped in like the story that this guy is telling, where he's worked out this entire ecosystem of this future planet. It's a really fascinating read, and I think part of what makes it interesting is the way it jumps through time. The storytelling is impeccable in this. These are some creators I'm loving. This is only the second book. T. Smolderin and A. Clarice. Let's get their full names here. And again, IDW, I think Earl Grey will be able to tell me if I'm right about this. I think IDW has only done these 2 books. There might be a third one because he's saying he doesn't know this one. So maybe there is a third one that was translated to English. So there's their names there. And again, Atomic Empire, and then Diabolical Summer is the other one. So they're a bit of a smaller format. Where's a regular comic, just to kind of show you a comparison, because I know sometimes it's hard to tell. So there's kind of a regular comic, so a little bit wider and a bit shorter. I kind of wish they would have done it a little bit bigger, just to kind of absorb that art a little more, but it's not bad. Like, it's a not bad size, and they're beautiful hardcovers. But the art is really incredible. All this digital coloring. Summer Cthulhu. There you go. That's the one. So yeah, it was a really easy read. And once you got into the world, you get some of these. They do a really good job of distinguishing these different time periods, future, present, what's a memory, what's real time, with different color palettes throughout the whole thing too. So that works very, very well, because this is kind of looking on the character that he's in touch with from the future, and kind of taking over his body to some degree to go and get the military secrets from the empire that he's a part of. So apparently on the back, it also says, an astonishing and captivating original graphic novel inspired by a real psychological case. Atomic Empire is both a psychiatric enigma and a space opera immersed in the fluid and aerodynamic imagery of 1950s sci-fi. So apparently it's loosely based on a real case. So I haven't dug into that, so I don't know what that would be.
In a college psychology class, I read a book, or they had us read a book called The 50-Minute Hour. Okay. And it was different case studies by this psychotherapist. And one of them was about someone who was very intelligent, and I can't remember all the details, but a very impressive person who lived this whole other life where he thought he spent part of his time on another planet, or in the future or something like that. And the book's called The 50-Minute Hour, and I just looked it up. It's the author's name, Robert Mitchell Lindner. And there were rumors that this person was, because he had to change the name and details to, because it's like the whatchamacallit, that you're not supposed to reveal stuff. But there were rumors that it might have been the science fiction writer Cordwainer Smith. But I don't know for sure.
Interesting.
But so that's a very famous case. Now I want to get this book.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love the whole pulp science fiction angle to it. So very engaging, like a really, really good read. And again, it was one of those where you start reading it and I couldn't put it down. I just wanted to see what was happening. It just read really nicely as one piece, right? Yeah. What language did this come out in originally?
I think they're French creators. Right. Earl Grey will be able to tell us, but I'm pretty sure they're French.
I was looking at his name, and he has a couple of other ones, like Enrico Marini. He worked with a Skull Gypsy Omnibus, some other ones as well he was working with. So Enrico Marini did the Batman series. I remember because I bought him two hardcovers. They came out like the special editions, also but in hardcover, like a book, but it looks like a comic book size as well, especially like that. So I know the name as well. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, they're both of these books. Honestly, I can't, like I said, graphic novels seem to really be where my mind is at these days, because they're just kind of nice to have, like a one and done kind of read, right? But both of these are very recommended from IDW. And again, they should be readily available. Shouldn't be too tough to find them still.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys been? I think Terrence was getting Orphan in the 5 Beats. I don't know if both of you were.
I'm not. No, I haven't.
Did you read issue 3 already?
I didn't read it. No, I'm still on the hunt for issue 1. Issue 1 kind of escaped me from my pull list for some reason, so I've just kind of flipped through them, not read them yet.
Then I'm not going to say a lot because this takes a very unexpected turn for me. So maybe when you do find it and read it, we can talk about it more. But I have to say, I suddenly like this series a whole lot more. And it feels like it's going to have to go on a lot longer than because usually Dark Horse series are like 4 issues or 5 issues.
Yeah, we don't continue anymore. So.
He's got to battle 5 different bad guys, the 5 beasts, and he's only battled 1. And he's encountering, I think, the next one in this issue. But it's very different from the first 2 issues. Very creative. So anyway, I'm kind of more excited by this series now. And I wonder if they're going to
that's a good thing.
Wonder if they're going to do it like, you know, how sometimes Hellboy or other things they'll do a few issues and then they'll start it up again, but it's actually
so it doesn't have to.
It's now feeling like it should be longer. And it's taken quite a while for these to come out. It feels like it's been most of the year for these 3 issues to come out. I'm not sure. So,
is that true, Ragamuffin? I was just about to type it, but is that real?
That's bad.
Like they're just going to stop printing them, maybe because of the paper shortages, or it's not as good business,
or like actually closing down. Period.
Yeah. IDW doesn't feel like as on top of their game as they used to be. Not in terms of like their hardbacks are still really nice and stuff, but feels like in terms of the comic book shop racks, there's less IDW comics and less popular ones. I don't know.
Yeah, the Turtles have been there. A couple of things, and then Usagi is another one they keep on coming out with. So
right, they've got the Turtles and they've got Usagi. That's true, and
I
think the Turtles have been very successful.
And they continuously continue. They say.
AFPC says they might be being bought out.
Oof, shit.
Oh, maybe they're a couple of comic book companies are putting themselves out there to be purchased. Dark Horse, I remember reading about that. Yeah, but it's like they've got an agent, sort of a company that tries to shop you around. I don't know if it means they really will be sold or not. Yeah, I noticed that the Library of American Comics has moved to Clover. Clover is now coming out with this new edition of Terry and the Pirates that's supposed to be bigger and better print and stuff. Yeah, I mean, both Dark Horse and IDW don't feel like they're as strong a presence in the marketplace as they used to be, although both still do good stuff. So that's interesting. So, so I'm not going to say any more about Orphan, 5 Orphans for now, but or Orphan and the 5 Beasts. But I'm saying that it's looking even more like something one should be reading.
Well, that's good to know. I'll really heighten my hunt for issue number 1 then.
Have you got something else up your sleeve, Rasa?
Well, I'll show you my whole some back issues I managed to get on eBay by chance. Okay. Not like whole, but it's just I show it to you. Like, so I got a stack of comic books, nice. And all of them are Jonah Hex. So I went online.
Sweet.
Because I was really wanted some more Jonah Hex, and then this is Gray and Palmiotti's run, which is quite famous, and it's quite a lot of them. But somebody was selling and nobody bid on it, so I just bid on it. So I got for 30p a comic, which is always like, oh, steal!
Wow,
amazing.
So as one of those eBay finds, which is actually very good for you, kind of thing. Like you sometimes find them. So I was very happy. So yeah, and it has, of course. I was like looking out. You remember, Damien, when we were having a chat, you were showing one of that
J.H. Williams or Darwin Cook?
Darwin Cook one with Jonah Hex, and this one has it. So I haven't read it yet because it's quite far deep into the. I'm not sure I can find
That's
it now.
nice because I want to find the print version of that one. I only had it digitally.
Yeah, that's the one issue that I have from that run too. There was a Darwin Cook cover, and I bought that one.
Yeah. Well, where is it? No, I know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, but the first cover is by Frank Whiteley, which is really nice.
Nice one.
And I read the first 5 issues, and of course they were, like what Jonah Hex is all about. Kind of really wanted that Western type of guy, and the era he is in, and so far it's really going strong. I mean, it's quite like very good because it's like story. In each one has a story, so like whoever picks it up, I didn't know that it was in continuation, but he just travels, and then of course he's doing the, making the money by getting like criminals to justice apparently, and he's famous and stuff. So this is the last issue I read, and it was like before Christmas, which was actually quite interesting. Just before Christmas, reading the Christmas issue because I wasn't expecting it to be that one. And he's in the train station. Those kind of like scenes of craziness and people get shot by because he gets into to gives this criminal away, and of course this criminal is really good at what he does. So you're having way too much context in. And then he is basically John Hex is basically forced to let him go away, which is kind of interesting because you usually or you die or you get caught, but this guy somehow escaped with his cunningness. But then 10 years later, Jonah Hex doesn't forget, I guess, and then he's basically kills him and stuff like that. So it's funny with Jonah Hex. But yeah, I was really pleased because I always been on the lookout for getting Jonah Hex, especially in this run. It's so difficult. Trade is difficult to find out. Because they're not reprinting them. And a lot of people keep on asking them to like basically to get them printed. And then, but you can't really get hold of them. And I really want to show you that. There's another one like later ones. I really want to find that issue now. I'm gonna be like, if I can't see it now here, I'm gonna.
Isn't it like issue 50 or something? I feel like it's way up there.
No, there you go. Issue 33.
Oh, okay. I don't have that one.
Yeah.
So this is the one what Damien was showing us digitally. So. And I was like so pleased it was part of this stack I got, and then of course, it looks so good.
Oh man!
So getting his stuff in the printed format is always a good thing for me. So as a fan, so. And I'm looking forward to reading the story again. But yeah, very good. I really wanted, like I said, I was reading the beginnings of Jonah Hex, and then Damon, I think you showed the omnibus as well, isn't it? Of the earlier stuff.
I have an omnibus of the original series.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Back in the Tony DeZuniga days.
Yeah, and Tony DeZuniga somewhere, I think he comes back.
Did they bring him back? Oh, that would
I think there's one of them I read, but he was part of it. So anyway, but yes, so I always wanted to get more into lore, and then Gray's and Paul Miati's run is famous for like people's like fan of this. So I'm really glad I got hold of like almost 30 issues for 30p. I was like, it's such a steal. I could not believe it.
A hell of a steal.
And then getting them was like really arrived as a bit ginormous box, and I was like, oh my god, how are we gonna pack it up? But the guy was taking his time, so that was great. So now I have amazing. A lot of material of Jonah Hex, so I'm really fan. It's the 75 issues run, so I only have like a half quarter, something like that. But I'm glad.
Judging from what I read, they like try different things in different issues, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
It's experimental in there.
Yeah, it's like different eras. They also have some like a back matter in the storylines with other creators, but then like. And even also the artist, like this one is by Beck. What's your name, Beck? Where is it?
What's her name from Saga? She does a couple of issues too, I think, in that
does
run.
she? Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
David
I'm pretty
Michael,
sure.
for example, this issue, David Michael Beck is the artist, and a completely different feel to it.
Mhm.
So, but it's the same creators, the writers of it. But it's
Nice, yeah.
Right.
But it's good. Actually, it's quite like as I say, they had we can do whatever they wanted to. Yeah.
I think it's a variety of artists there, AFPC, throughout the whole series. They don't
right.
just.
We were talking about a Darwin Cook issue. There's a J.H. Williams issue. There's
prominent artist was the Burnett,
the original artist.
Yeah, the Burnett is the prominent. Higgins, like, what is his name? Like everyone, it's difficult to find the names in DC Comics sometimes. The title. Oh, there you go. John Higgins is on the art in this issue, for example.
The colorist from Watchmen.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So it's very good looking. See, kind of
the snow one was.
I want to get all those
there. AFPC.
Yeah, Darwin Cook one. Yes.
Darwin Cook was the snow one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have So Barnett is basically almost
His brother Darwin Cook.
Yeah, and then Darwin Cook. Who's this guy? Oh, there's no. Oh, I hate finding the creators. Sometimes you can't find them in the comic, in the thing, the names. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like a lot of different creators, and then
so probably mostly one and done stories, I'm assuming.
Yeah, most of the ones first 5 issues I read, all of them had the beginning and the end of the storyline, so never went into further down. There's a lot of different feels to them. Like this one, Val Simix. That's the art.
That name's sort of familiar.
So that's the person's art in here. So very interesting. Like Phil Noto was just beginning, like this one in cover. You can see after when he went into Marvel, he was much more polished as an artist. So kind of like it feels a little bit static, even though he tries his best. I think it's just the beginning of his career in here. So it's kind of like, as I say, it's very good to discover the character itself, and then they just went to do whatever they want, and that's what I wanted. I basically wanted to have a like those Western type of storylines, which I really like. Paul Galassi is as well in here.
Ooh, I love Paul Galassi, or Galassi. I don't even know how to.
Galassi. I don't know how you say it.
I don't know which way you pronounce it.
Yeah, but his art is great as well. Also cold winter scene in the mountains and the horses. So yeah, it's just Jonah Hex is, and then also guest starring El Diablo. So El Diablo is in here as well. There's a couple of the stories told in here.
And when they were both in, I forget what it was called, Strange Westerns or something like that. They were both had features in it. So that's fun. Exactly.
So yeah, it's coming back into. They were doing. I can't find the name of the creators in here. Anyway, so yeah, it's just as I say, I was so happy having some of the finds. Finally, I actually went to the comic book shop while I was not with you guys. So the first comic book visit in like 2.5 years, maybe.
Did you take your mom?
My mom didn't go into, of course. She waited outside, and also it has J.H. Williams III.
There you go.
And Jonah Hex. So
that's a nice issue.
Yeah, and that's the cover and the art. That looks great. Look at that. Stands out straight away. Yeah. And it's so funny every single time they mentioning the scars on his face, and it was like one of them kind of tries to puking sound like like how you do this, and then when he eats, you always have a cloth. Because everything is just he's drinking and everything just drooling, and it's it just gives you that he's so serious as a character, but those kind of moments are so great. Mm-hmm. It's just it puts the character down to earth kind of thing, to our unfortunate kind of realm, because he's always very serious. Jonah Hex, and is so unknown, wherever he comes upon, everyone's oh my god, it's Jonah Hex, and he's gonna just shoot you. And it's like in that train station we went this like almost were captured by bad guys. He just shot himself away, like one shoot, another one, and it's just like all of them did. And it's like, I can't die, I want to die, kind of thing in a way, because that's what Jonah Hex is all the time. It's just a man on a mission, and it seems to be never able to do whatever he wanted to, like in his own way. He just wants to kill. Oh, sorry. Just put that away the minute you open up another one. Those scenes and the coloring, I just love. The
very
desert.
cinematic.
Yeah, very kind of like as I say.
Who's the artist on that one?
He says, okay, who are you? Who are you?
Seems like this is kind of like a hidden gem that most people probably don't even know about.
Well, that's the thing. This, as I say, this run has been like people who likes like collecting graphic novels and omnibuses. They keep on asking them to DC to release. It doesn't say who is the. Oh, there, right at the end, Russ Heath.
Russ Heath. Oh, he's a classic artist from the Golden Age or the Silver Age.
Yeah. So Russ Heath was doing some of it.
Wow.
It seems to be a theme with our weekly chats, hit your library and hit your dollar bins. Because honestly, there's a lot of really good stuff out there,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Current comics getting too expensive. Well, there's actually better ones to be found anyway.
Yeah, there's lots of
ton of them. There was a ton of them out there. If
you just
have
have
access,
to, you have to just do some digging, and you'll find them.
Or go eBay once in a lifetime and discuss.
Or as Jared would say, some gathering.
Right. I was just going to mention that. When I now realize we're not comic book hunters. We're comic book miners. We're like digging for the veins of gold here and there.
Yeah.
So, I still like calling myself a hunter.
Oh, in this issue number 29, Jonah Hex and Native Americans. There you go. Back to the theme.
Oh,
Look
nice. Yeah.
Red skins. Like
wow,
all these,
great
like the tomahawks. The tomahawk. There you go. He's fighting them.
Amazing.
I'm guessing the artists who came on this were all trying to like outshine each other and do their best work on this.
Looks like it. Yeah, it's really
on that one, Rasa.
Okay, let me discover.
Those are really nice pages.
Yeah, it's even more.
Showcase book.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll show you another page which is really nice. Where are you? Oh, there you go. Rafa Gares, art and cover. Double R, Garres. But this page is like, look at that stars. Look at
nice.
So beautiful.
I prefer digging as well to AFPC.
Yeah.
That's what I always call it.
Yeah, there you go. So very good to run. Honestly, it's such a. If it's also like it's kind of rewarding. Just read an issue and you just get your story from beginning and the end. At least the first 5 issues which I read, I managed to read. Right. But I'm not like even the Halloween special we came out with. So yeah, Beck. I'll show you that one. The Beck the artist, that one. So this is they say it's one of the new, but just before DC went into New 52, this is the run which happened with Ray Palmieri. So yeah,
the same people wrote the New 52 run, but I got the feeling it wasn't quite as good. And they brought him into the present at some point during that run.
Yeah. I've heard something about that. I think it's just they probably let them do whatever they wanted in this one.
Exactly. Right.
Like when you give him the freedom to just, to show up some, like just show us some Jonah Hex in somewhere, and they just create some stories. And it looks like they kept continuing the same kind of fashion, even though artists changed, but it's just the feel of Jonah Hex, how he is. So, as I say, so far, I'm really happy. Like it's a steal for me to find this kind of thing. And it's really rarely happens. So it's a good celebration. And I always wanted this for a while. So, and it's just like random, I was so drugged up. I went on eBay. It's like, somebody's like, okay, I'm just going to bet whatever the first price you were having. It sounded good. I was like, oh, I'm never going to win. And then next day or 2 days later, I was like, oh, you won, you have to pay. I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm paying that. I was so happy. I didn't expect that at all.
Scott, that is a problem. The too old to bend over. I am getting to the point where I don't like, especially in a store where it's kind of cramped. I don't like going to the bins that are on the floor. The shop that I go to most regularly is very small, and he's got these bins on the floor, but I'm willing to be undignified and sit on the floor, but there's not really space, and no one could get past me. So
the thing is, those bins on the floor and under the tables, those are where you can potentially find some really good stuff, right? So
yeah, but what are you gonna do, Terrence? In a couple of years, you won't be able to find your freaky stuff, eh? You're gonna have to send your son.
I was at Red River
show
Books
me.
today. I was at Red River Books today, and he's got some milk crates laying around the place. So at least there, when I have to sit down, I can just pull up a milk crate and sit down, and it makes digging way easier. It's very nice of him to do so.
Next time when you go hunting in your old age, just buy a small stool. You go buy comic books. You get your stool.
Bring your stool.
Exactly. Fold it up and flop yourself down.
Well, I'm gonna tell my wife I have to go to the comic book store and dick. It's time for some dick.
It's like you're going mad.
There have been some places where I'm able to pull the box out, but if it's a long box, that can be hard to pull it out and lift it onto something.
Well, sometimes you get some funny looks putting that long box on top of other long boxes. Yes. Some of the dealers don't particularly like that, right? So
I remember when I started just going into comic book shops and discovering digging up. So I never bought a long box because I was like, I was watching videos of people having long boxes. Looks ginormous. I went to the comic book shop. I tried to pull one. I couldn't pull it out. It's like, what the hell? It's so fucking hard. It was like we were stuffed. Those boxes where people are just stack them as much as possible. So you can 50p boxes. I couldn't pull it out. I asked somebody, it's like, do you mind pulling a little bit for me so I can actually dig up? I was so embarrassed, but it's like, bloody hell, that was weight, eh? Oof.
Well, I mean, in a long box, you can easily cram in 300 issues. You know what I mean? Right. So it's crazy.
They are heavy. They're heavy.
Yeah.
A couple of my shops actually have 3 levels, and the middle level has a shelf that slides out.
Yeah.
So I buy most of my comics from that middle level because it's the easiest to search.
So you should tell the owners, so stack up this shit in that one. You'll be your customer kind of thing. What the hell?
Or they should rotate the boxes from the bottom to the top.
Yeah. There's a lot of those shelves we're talking about. We like Terrence have those one as well. Lots of comic book shop have it as well now. Actually, my comic book I have started to go putting in those as well. So it's much easier, less box because I have boxes everywhere, and this is you just open the drawer and you go, and so easy to do it as well. Some other comic book shops actually make proper shelvings, Dr. Mom make that wall, but it's not the shelves, but they actually made drawers as well, especially. So some comic book shops are really fancy. I see some on the YouTube video. I was like, oh, fuck, I wish I'd go there. It's so easy to just look through, less chore of digging through them. Yeah. I'm really glad with that kind of stuff. I hate my paper boxes, short boxes, or whatever I have. I usually cut myself with paper cut all the time. Now I just don't have. I just slide the drawer out, and it's just, there you go. It's there for me.
The bottom box FOMO. Good one,
Angela. It's totally true though. I find when I go and I see those ones at the bottom, I gotta look because I know there's not a lot of people looking through those, right? And it's who knows what's in there that people haven't discovered. So yeah.
Well, if there's enough space, I'll just sit on the floor and pull the thing out.
Yeah,
but
same with me.
I don't need to be dignified, but if I have to bend over in some narrow row, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Terrence, you were saying that you were selling comics. Did you sell any of your slabs? I wonder how did you do them? Did you sell
no,
slabs?
I haven't posted any slabs yet. No, I just updated my eBay account with banking information and all that because they're not doing the PayPal. I'm getting ready. I have one of the slabs up there right now just to kind of test the waters. There's a whole bunch of people watching. I sent out some offers to people, but nobody bit yet. So I'm waiting. I haven't put the rest of them up yet though. No, I'm waiting till as Nick
specific
would say,
time,
that prime moment. Yeah, when that trailer comes out, put that shit up there and try to cash in, right? So
Oh. I really wonder how well you'll do. Like with all those stuff.
I'm curious as well. Trust me, so is my wife. She's very curious.
She's like, when I'm gonna get that surprise
exactly.
promises,
Exactly
right. The slidey things between your fingers, those.
It's worth maybe what? Sorry, what did you say? I'm like, hey, don't get your hopes up. It might not be. I'm just saying, generally, it's around this price. Yeah. What? For how many books? Just one. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So you haven't sold the God Butcher one yet?
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet. No, I'm waiting for that trailer to come out. Like, I think.
Oh, okay. So there's still
that I hear
hasn't
from
hit
people.
its peak yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
From what I hear from people, once that trailer comes out, then you put it up. Is what the little bit that I know about that stuff. That's the one piece of advice that I've taken
about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You talking about this book yet?
Yeah.
You don't. It's gonna go down in value by the time the movie actually comes out, right?
Yeah.
The trailer.
Yeah.
Exactly right. It's that.
I don't.
Yeah. It's that.
You're
first
rich,
bit.
Rasa. You can get rich off that book.
Yeah. I don't have slab. It's not slab. It's paper.
You can buy your next plane ticket to South Africa with that.
Yeah, would be actually if it would be.
It's weird though, because stuff like this, like I'm wondering, like it feels like this book, there's not much. This is one of those ones that it feels like any given time it might sell. I just haven't done it yet.
Right.
And then where's my God Butcher one?
Your Harley one is that's the same cover, yeah. Yeah, it's just
that's the
9.
one.
Is Harley still as hot as always? I assume she stays hot.
Man, that book never goes down. It's crazy. Yeah. It always kind of hovers at the same place. The magical 9.8 isn't on this one, but I mean, even at this grade, it's still a pretty pricey book, right? So.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that all the people want in their collection, I guess. The people who like key issues.
Yeah, wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that one, but it's in a very sore state. But I'm glad I only have that one. So, but it's like people asking like 700, 500. I bought it for £40, and I was like, oh my god, so good.
Yeah,
because I'm a fan of Harley's anyway. So having her, because I knew how much it's gonna go crazy for. People always have been a fan of her.
I'm sorry, AFPC. I'll leave it to you for your market report there.
Well, I'm hoping that you sell them for a huge amount of money, and your wife says, "Buy more comics now."
Yeah. Trust me, so am I.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The slabs are upsetting the.
I'm sorry. I'll put them away. They won't make an appearance
again.
Yeah.
Terrence, did you have any more books you wanted to tell us about?
Yeah, I sure do. I've got a ton, but I'll kind of go with this one here. Okay. So Living the Line, that YouTube channel, he did a video recently where he was talking about Nobrow, the publisher out of the UK. And I found there was a time where there was quite a bit of Nobrow books here in Winnipeg at some of the bookstores. That time has long since passed. So this is the only one I found when I went to the bookstore by my place. And it was one of the ones that he recommended. It's a newer release. Molly Mendoza is the creator's name, artist and writer. It was a lot of fun. And I think the thing with a lot of the Nobrow stuff is they really kind of highlight some creators that maybe aren't traditional kind of comic book creators. Let's find a good page here. So you get the sense again that it's some sort of, it almost feels like it's maybe some post-apocalyptic type world, but the emphasis isn't on that whatsoever. It's the emphasis is on this kid who's living with a woman. I think it's maybe his mother. It's not really kind of talked about. And she goes away because there's a broadcast on a CB radio of other survivors. So she goes away and leaves him her necklace because I guess the state of the world, she's never really sure if you're going to come back once you kind of leave the area. So he's thrown it away in kind of a fit, kind of a moment of kind of anger and kind of being upset. So he swims out to try to find it again. And as he dives down into the water, he kind of comes upon this different world. So we get a little snippet of this different world where these kind of mushroom and animal, like kind of vegetable type people to some degree, where it really kind of hits almost like an Alice in Wonderland type of environment there that he kind of comes up in. Here he is there. So when he kind of dives to the bottom of the water, he comes out in this field and they meet each other. These two main characters who we kind of follow through the rest of the story meet each other. And the rest of the book is him trying to get home to his, to where he's from. And this character trying to help him get that. This other character has kind of really, he's not well liked in kind of the area, the world that he's from. They have this kind of summer celebration that they prepare for, and he's kind of messed things up. So this is kind of a neat use of comic pages. So they're digging down where he's come up to see if they can reach to see where his world is from. And his hand breaks through the panel there, which is a really nice touch. And then on the next page, you get kind of the sense of what he's digging into, this sort of kind of nether world between their two realities. So it's a really nice kind of use of kind of comics pages and stuff to represent that. No, it's Molly Mendoza, AFPC. And lots of, a couple of uses of some like nice white pages, but some beautiful, very abstract kind of art going here in kind of this storytelling. And again, with the different environments and different worlds that they discover, there's a different color palette for each one. It's a really nice little book. Like it's not overly complex. It's maybe a little more along kind of the kids comic line, but a really enjoyable read. And again, like seeing someone who's not necessarily, I shouldn't say this because I don't know for sure, but who maybe is not necessarily a comic book creator, kind of putting her chops towards creating comics with her very distinct visual style. No Brow is all over the place. It's not, this one is definitely a little more kid friendly for sure. The story is pretty thin. It's still enjoyable enough, but honestly, just going through the book and seeing the art and the colors and stuff is where it's at. But No Brow in general, they have a lot of variety. There's some that's more adult. There's some that, again, I haven't read very much, but there's some that are almost like folk tales, so let's see what else I can show you in here. Yeah, again, a different color palette here. Oranges there. And the quality of the books are really nice as well too.
My impression of
sorry, go ahead, Damien.
My impression of No Brow is there's a kind of intersection there with sort of sophisticated children's book illustrators.
Yep.
And maybe some of their artists do that also as part of their.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I would say that's the case. And all the books are really, really well done. Like this is a hardcover and it's beautifully produced. And it's like you can't see it, but it's kind of a little bit embossed cover there. So there's a nice kind of feel to it. It was a really, really nice book. And like I said, this is a newer release. Is it this year? Oh, well, no, actually it's 2 years ago, 2019. But it seems to be one that might be a little more readily available. So I don't know if that's because maybe it was more of a hit for them. I know No Brow has kind of had a little bit of difficulties with some kind of harassment complaints coming from staff working at No Brow. So I think there was a moment there where they were sort of one of those companies that people were kind of shying away from, not necessarily shying away, but sort of boycotting to some degree. And again, not that I totally understand all that, but they're worth getting. I've only got a few things, 3 of the hardcovers, and then they have a series of magazines as well too, or sort of magazines where it's a flip book. So half of the book is prints and like art, and then the other half is comics.
That's the website, nobrow.net.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
For people to discover if they want to just check it out.
And I think they're based in UK, so for you, Rasa, too.
Yeah,
so
I think they are UK.
Yeah. I was thinking for you would be like so easy, but it's everything. It's like lots of choices, like what's coming out, quite a few kids stuff coming out and stuff.
And they do a couple of floppy type stuff too, like single issues and things as well.
Yeah, they do.
Books are good.
Yeah.
I've got a list on my phone from watching that Living the Line video. He talked about a few of them, and there's like 5 titles that I put on my list right away from what he was talking about.
Yeah. Looks like all sorts of like the taste wise, it's just like you just discover anything, to be honest, for kids, for not kids. Even there's one of the books they were producing, a girl called Hilda. She's getting Netflix show apparently.
Right.
So. Right. All right.
So,
and that's a book you do find in the kids section.
Yeah.
I remember picking it up from the library when my daughter was younger.
And it's now a TV show. So yeah, it's even they used to have the shows, the comic shops, like shows like comic shows, but especially just for them, they press. But after, I don't know, I have not heard it.
What's the show? Is it Thought Bubble in the UK there? I think they used to have a table at Thought Bubble as well too, because I remember Adam going to that, and there was a table there for them.
Yeah, Thought Bubble is very concentrated on creators rather than like comic books. Really, you go there to sign your signatures more and stuff like that. There used to be more like I remember like Dr. Moby went last time, and he said like there was not much of the actual comic books to look at, but it's just to meet actual creators. So it's more up close conversation you go there for.
Right.
Yeah. In Leeds, I think.
Oh, okay.
Funny, my daughter did not like the Hilda books.
Oh no, hey.
I was more interested in them than she was.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's often that way with kids. You just can't.
Yeah.
You want them to like what you want them to like, and it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Yeah. My husband now gets my son to watch all sorts of animations, like not for 3-year-old, like adult version animated TV shows. Like I said, why you but not like scary ones. They are usually more funny. But it's actually quite interesting how he's brought in his even though he's only 3 years old, 3.5, but his like taste is really interesting. He likes the manga. Some animations he actually asked me to put on. I was like, really, you want manga? Like it's like something not your typical, but he chooses himself. So it's interesting how kids are. Well, maybe my son is. So when he wakes up and we want to do something new to him to watch, like animation wise, you put it when in the morning when he's just like barely awake, you put it on and it's gonna click inside his brain and he's gonna actually do it afterwards. He's not interested probably. But that's how we get him to watch whatever we feel like, oh, you should be watching, like something like entertaining. It's actually funny. One of the things I was watching all the time when I was growing up is the one of Disney's, the Chipmunks, the series. And he absolutely loves that. And I was like, okay, there you go. That's my proof, is my son. It's like my mom was here and I showed her what he's watching and she's like, oh my god, you were watching, that's like when you were little. It's like, yeah, exactly. The proof is mine, son. Yeah, it's funny. Those little things, that's just such a sweet thing. It reminds you of your childhood. And I go singing all the songs, the beginning songs. Oh, I just love it. It just reminds me of sitting on the like watching telly and just not thinking about anything else, just watching cartoons. It's such a good feeling. Oh, I miss those days.
Yeah, man. Saturday mornings, sneaking out of our bedroom and getting in there to watch those cartoons.
Yeah, love it.
Nice, Damien.
Yeah, so there's a lot of books I've fallen behind this past month, but I did manage to read Newburn, which is a new series drawn by Jacob Phillips, the son of course, John Phillips, and written by Chip Zdarsky. And I was surprised how much I liked it. It's what I kind of thought those hard case books should be like in a way. And it's about this guy who's an ex-cop who works for all the mobs in New York City, like not just the Italian mob or the Irish mob or whatever. He works for all of them. Like he's their fixer who tries to keep the mobs working together. And so a mob guy has gotten killed, and he has connections with the police. So the police officer lets him go in and observe the crime scene. And we get, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's like a real precise kind of detective story. Like you get A, B, C, D. It all sort of very efficiently piles up. It's kind of almost the opposite of the Brubaker, Sean Phillips kind of stories that feel like they kind of meander around and the plot slowly develops. This one is like a very precise detective story. And it was done really well. And I think Jacob Phillips' art really made it work. I mean, Chip Zdarsky did a very good job on giving us this kind of hard-boiled, just the facts, ma'am kind of story. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm definitely going to stick with it. And Jacob Phillips is doing his own coloring, and I like his coloring on his dad, but I think it works even better on his own artwork.
Yeah,
because his own artwork is more sort of precise lines, at least here, maybe to go with the story, and then that sort of looser, almost watercolory digital art makes a nice contrast, I feel, to the way he does his line work. And so the two work together really well.
But I think you can see the influences of his father. It's quite strong.
Yeah. It's like his father, but not like his father.
Yeah. But I'm just saying
that has a different inking style, perhaps.
Yeah, I bet he's going to develop into different, more maybe on his own art, but he's just to have that.
It's within the same genre, obviously, and anyway, I liked it a lot, and I felt it was distinctive enough from his father, and it made me view his coloring style in a different way somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about this one. The only downside is it's like a 16 pages.
Oh.
And then they have a backup story, which is to be continued. And the backup story has nice art, but it's not really a very interesting story.
Is this the same artist or?
No, it's a different artist.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see on the screen, but it's a looser style done with, like a thicker pen or brush. But it's nice art, but the story itself just doesn't seem as interesting.
Oh.
So I don't know. Maybe it will develop. So it's just the first part of, I don't know if they even give it a title. It's called Brooklyn Zirconia. And it's by the writers Nadia Shamas. The artist is Ziad Youssef Ayub. So I just don't know these creators. The art, as I said, the art's good. The story, there's not that much to it yet. Maybe
I think the artist has worked for Marvel as well. It sounds familiar.
Okay.
It sounds familiar.
Okay. Well, it's a good artist, but it's just it's also that thing of I'm not so into backup stories.
Yeah,
I like the focus on the main story. But anyway, if you like kind of the hard-boiled detective or detective stories, I think this is very, very promising.
Oh, I see. Good. Chip Zdarsky is going into all sorts of realms now, isn't he?
Yeah, it's surprising because I used to think he was a good artist and an okay writer, but he seems now to be a very good writer, and I never see his art anymore.
No, I think he's just completely gone into writing. I
miss his art because I liked that art.
Oh yeah, because Sex Criminals was this, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the main place where you would see it.
And now it seems like what he's doing. Does he still write Daredevil?
Yeah, still writing Daredevil. I'm not sure if he does anything else at Marvel at the moment, but maybe.
Okay.
Since I don't pay enough attention to Marvel. But a lot of people love his Daredevil work. I know that Terrence was not crazy about it.
I wasn't crazy.
Just those first two volumes that, I didn't read any past that, so maybe I would change my mind, but those first two didn't strike me.
And I've only read 2 issues of it so far, but I keep meaning to go back to it.
I got like a little bit thrown away from the story by the artist changed, like a drastic change, like Marvel usually does. Like they don't keep the artist the same artist all the time. So.
I guess. Let's see. Do you have? You said you were pretty much out of stuff, Rasa?
Yeah. I'm done. Yeah.
You want to show something else, Terrence?
Oh, sure. I read a fair bit this week. Why don't we show something completely completely different. So I bought my first Aquaman book the other day.
Ooh, lovely. The old stuff.
And it was because of the Dead Man backup. Yeah. So I think there's 2 or 3 issues. I think it's 50, 51, and maybe 52 where this Dead Man story plays in, and it sort of ties in with the Aquaman. But honestly, I actually didn't mind the Aquaman story. Again, it's this idea of it's just generic superhero stuff. There's nothing that's kind of mind-blowing, but when it comes to this underwater realm, this kind of adventurous, not quite psychedelic, but there's an adventurousness to kind of the pages and the creatures that he's kind of coming into contact with. And, like that's a pretty great page, man. That's kind of speaks to me.
Is it Jim Aparo? I know he did properly. A lot of Aquaman.
I think so, but let's get them right here. So script Steve Skeets and art Jim Aparo. Yeah. So it's good, and then it's we'll get to the meat of it though. There's a nice page here too where he's kind of trying to communicate telepathically with these aliens that he's in contact with, and you see a bunch of names, and it's all comic creators, Russ Heath, Giordano, Adams, etc. You can see all the names, and it's all comic book people that are used for that background there.
Look at that!
But the meat of it. Sorry, say that again.
That sleek figure looks stunning, actually.
Yeah, and then the thing for me was this Dead Man, and it's Neil Adams on story and art for the Dead Man story. So it ties into this issue as well too. So the main Aquaman story involves kind of one of these characters, and he comes to, and again, I don't know the characters very well. He comes to Aquaman and kind of realizes that, oh man, I've lured you into the arms of kind of these villains. And in this backup Dead Man story, it's when he comes to that realization. So they kind of tied in really nicely together. But the Dead Man, it's just great. Like stuff like this is great, man. I love this so much. That character right here is fantastic, and same on this side here too. So again, I wish I apologize. I don't know all the names of everybody, but they're really, really great. So, and it's something that I don't think I've read anywhere else. I don't know if some of these backup stories of Dead Man, I don't think they've been reprinted anyway, at least not to my knowledge. So it's nice also to dip in and check some of this stuff out.
That Dead Man Omnibus?
Sorry, say that again.
That Dead Man Omnibus has those.
Oh, do they really? Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So minus the Aquaman story.
Yeah,
right,
of course.
Out of context, but
you
just get.
I guess the Steve Skeets Aparo Aquaman has some fans. I really don't know much about it. I feel like I just always ignored Aquaman because I hated his costume or something, which is a dumb reason.
Generic, yeah. Zesty Clam is saying weird that I would call it generic. Sorry. No offense there, Zesty Clam. It's just that for me, it just that realm of superheroes doesn't always, and especially my mindset lately, it just doesn't resonate with me as much, right? So I feel like it's just a superhero story where there's bad guys, there's good guys, and there's some sort of communication. Maybe the whole run would blow my mind, but this one didn't. It was enjoyable. It was a really nice read. I won't bash it any degree. It was still a lot of fun. It's just I never expected myself to pick up an Aquaman book. Sorry, Damien, go ahead.
Well, liking a particular era of a superhero may be a matter of taste or context, or when you read it.
Yeah.
But I love Jim Aparo artwork, and I feel like his earlier DC artwork was even better than his later Batman work. I know people love him on Batman, but I love him even more on like those Phantom Strangers and stuff, which I think was around the same time as that Aquaman.
Right.
So maybe I should just look for it for that.
I'll definitely be keeping my eyes open for the issues around this, just to give it a little more of a shot if they're reasonable priced, right? Like I don't know what these kind of books go for. I don't often see Aquaman stuff out there, so maybe it's one of those characters people buy the books and they never get rid of them. I don't really know, but it's not a character. Or it also might be that I'm not focused on it. So yeah,
right.
That's the
so
one.
Zesty Clan is saying it's part of a longer story, so it might, seem less generic when you. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
you got something to show us, Rasa?
Yeah, that story, Aquaman story. I thought.
Oh, there you go.
You can see it in the omnibus.
Nice,
That's an exercise. I forgot about how fucking heavy this book is.
Build up your triceps.
Yeah. Look,
it's funny how different those colors look
wow.
on those different pages. The different paper.
Totally.
Yeah, but we don't look bad. Too bad, Like
no, they don't. I kind of like the old comics on the shiny paper, but it is it actually makes it a different experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Phantom Stranger I need to start. I need to get back into reading more of this stuff. I always take my time reading this omnibus because, it's there for me to pick on, like Deadman and Batman
right.
in here, and lots of the challenges of Unknown he has been appearing in as well as some really beautiful cover things. Anyway.
Well, and the thing for me with like Deadman and Spectre is I've kind of got a list on my phone of backup stories, because the other one I picked up this week, I won't talk about it, but the other one I picked up this week was a Superman and the Spectre DC Comics presents. So
that looks like a Jim Starlin cover.
Yeah, it is exactly right. It's a Jim Starlin, exactly. It's great to kind of just dip into these other titles that I would otherwise just completely ignore, just because I'm looking for these characters, right? So it's been kind of fun.
Like everybody, like Neil Adams and Deadman and stuff, but Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. If Sleepy is gonna show me.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So this is the pages of Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and I really like
nice.
it.
Yeah,
he's an amazing artist.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Look at that.
That's
so
cool.
Cool.
Just too bad it's all that shiny coloring.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, but still love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's still cool. I mean, as I say, this reprint is not bad. Yeah, not bad. They didn't touch it up on which is great.
Yeah, at least they didn't try to put modern coloring on it.
That's
right. Look at her face. Ooh.
The big question, though, Rasa, is does it smell like an old comic?
No, of course not.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about omnibuses. They don't have that.
Yeah.
Only omnibuses who people decide to do that, like pick up their comic books and they have them binded, like custom binding. Custom binding omnibuses would smell lovely. Just exactly the drug you feel like it.
Yeah.
I may have this wrong, Zesty Clan, but I feel like Skates, however you pronounce his name, did Aquaman and then moved over and did Submariner for a while, and somehow secretly continued a story from one to the other. I'm not sure if I have that remembered correctly, but it suddenly rang.
That's interesting.
We have a vote for Shiny Deadman. I've got to say, the thing I like about the shiny things is the black lines look better. Mm-hmm.
Less muted.
Sometimes the colors are a little more overwhelming, but I think Zesty is saying yes, that did happen. So
that's amazing.
Steve Skates is not someone you hear very much about. I think maybe he left comics and went to prose fiction, but I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just getting distracted by my omnibus.
Well, speaking of art, so when I did my review show, I said I'm not going to keep getting the Human Target.
Nice.
Because it costs $5 an issue, and it's going to be 12 issues, and clearly Tom King is stretching the story. But I keep coming back to this art. I like it so much. Oh, you got it too, Terrence.
Just issue 2. I can't find issue 1.
Okay. Well, you can definitely read issue 2 by itself.
Okay, good. Yeah.
All you really need to know is that while impersonating Lex Luthor, our hero, the Human Target, I forget his real name, swallowed some poison that's going to kill him in 12 days.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. This art is really
Smallwood.
Smallwood, right? Greg Smallwood. I don't think his other art looked exactly like this. So
He's a
doing
champ, man. He's
The
unbelievable.
Doctor Strange ones you were showing, isn't it, Terrence, with him, Greg
No,
Smallwood?
in this Marvel
Yeah.
miniseries, he did
He's in
Captain a Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll
So
have to get that.
here's him doing Nick Fury in this omnibus kind of size. And it jumped out at me like his art leaps off the page. It's absolutely
I'm going to be
fucking
following
gorgeous.
Smallwood, I can now tell.
Sorry, one sec. I'll find another page for you here. There you go. There you go. And I wonder, maybe you're right, Rasa. I wonder if this is him at the end here as well, too, where he did this at the end of this series. They had a double page spread. Wonder if that's him as
trippy
well,
one.
too.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't.
Anyway, sorry, Damien. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I first noticed him on Moon Knight. He did some really excellent stuff on Moon. He's an artist who's always trying new things, I think. So I'm now, it's like the after experience, the aftertaste in my mouth is so good from the Smallwood art that even though I feel like it would make a lot more sense to read it in trade, both financially and maybe just story-wise, I just love these pictures at the beach. I think I may just give in to my base urge to buy comic books and buy them in single issues, despite the bad economic choice of it.
But with Tom King's stuff, they get printed in hardcovers, isn't it?
That's true, right? It's just a matter of waiting.
12 issues, that means a year of wait,
right?
Probably, and
right.
more.
And I've, since a few days ago of reviewing it on my other video, I'm already like going, oh, I want to look at these issues. So, and it's not a bad story. It's just definitely very stretched out. And I think conceptually, each issue may be a little mini story of its own, kind of, or a mood piece. So I think you can, like Terrence, read that issue, and you probably could pick.
Oh man, look at that
drawing of Lex Luthor. It's beautiful.
So great.
Yeah.
Very Bondy-ish scenes with that car and him in the beach with the girl.
Yes.
Yeah. It reminds me of that Bond.
Yeah, the 1960s Bond kind of. It's a very 1960s looking book to me.
Absolutely.
Or an idealized version of 1960s art. So, there's a crack. Not the right kind. Not exactly right.
Almost there. Almost.
I love how he's in the drawings inside the crack.
Yeah.
This is just incredible. I mean, every panel has got a different, interesting composition and angle. Yeah. He's playing with the panels. So yeah,
I love the white panel borders as well too.
Yeah,
I think this is one time where the overpriced comics are going to defeat me.
Looks like the Greg Smallwood is going to become a featured person. We're going to see it more often. I think in comic books if it's going to continue this.
So.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it takes him to do these.
Is it? It looks digital though.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's digital.
Maybe the coloring is masking it, but it wouldn't be interesting to see.
Or maybe the line art isn't digital and the coloring is very digital. But
Look this one panel.
He has great taste in color too. I mean, some artists who color themselves don't do a good job of it, but
this one panel reminds me of Lady Killer because of the style and the
yes, there's definitely a Lady Killer connection here to that because Lady Killer went for that retro early 60s look also.
Look how the blocks of kind of shadow come on that left page there from the building translating to the figures there. Wow, man.
Yeah, all that work done in the color and
unbelievable
to make this building really pop. Yeah,
that pizza looks tasty. I think I'm hungry. Wow, it's a bit late.
Yeah, bread. Need to go bread.
Oh,
and while I'm at it, another
really gorgeous.
Did you guys see the Wonder Woman?
No.
Wonder Woman Historia. This is the cover B.
Oh no, you showed on your video.
I showed it in my video.
Yeah, you said that the art was distracting you too much.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm mixed feelings about the art. I'm just not sure. I mean, it's so unusual.
Whoosh! Look at that work! Oh my god!
I just picked it up today. He had
Uh-huh.
copies at Red River Bookshop. I love this art so much. I haven't sat and read it yet. I absolutely love the art. It is
Who's the artist
stunning.
again?
Well, that's the bizarre thing. It is Phil Jimenez, who usually his art looks kind of like George Perez.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It's
I love
not good comic book art in the sense of what do you call it?
Clear
Continuity
storytelling,
or
right?
the sequential.
It's very
storytelling.
busy. It's very busy.
Yes, it's very hard to find your place.
I'm glad you
Although I do love this image here.
This overhang video camera, it really works well to see actual panels so well. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, like there's a sequential scene here, but you get so distracted. But I am completely of two minds about it.
No, so it's all about the gods, yeah. So it looks like you said, the gods storyline.
Right. Most of this issue is about the gods, and it is really cool how he visualizes each god very individually. I guess that's Olympus there. Like this is an example. The color's gone so crazy you almost don't know what you're looking at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's worth picking up just for the insane amount of work he's put into it.
Yeah,
I assume it's mostly digital, like a few line drawings and then a huge amount of Photoshop done over it.
Right.
It looks like yes, beautiful to look at for sure, but reading wise, your eyes would wander too much off, because you wanted to see all of it, and the colors, because it's not tame colored palette as well.
No, it's not at all.
So it's busy paneling, really bright colors, lots of illuminations and stuff, and that's your eyes. I would get tired. I'm actually getting tired by looking at it now.
Right.
Not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just
You know how some people love to cover their Christmas trees so much with decorations you can't even see any green? That's kind of the feeling of some of these pages.
Yeah, we're going.
It's so decorated you don't even see the drawing anymore.
Yeah.
Although, like, that is a really cool vision of, I forget which god that's supposed to be.
I am
Artemis. I think it's Artemis.
Wow.
And also a few pages later than that, where they have where he has Wonder Woman at the top of the pages too, almost running off the panels, and the panels start disintegrating.
Oh,
yeah! I just flipped through it, and it looks really. I'm looking forward to sitting with this one.
So it's a great art book, but it may not be a great comic book.
Right. So Terrence, are you becoming a Wonder Woman's fan? So keep on delving into the realm.
I always have been a little bit, for sure, but I mean, there's more that I'm really digging, like especially because I was reading the Golden Age stuff with Lillian when I got that omnibus. Actually, one of my shops has volume 2 and 3 for sale as well too, like $40 or something like that. So I might actually pick up the second one. It's hit and miss for me for sure, but I mean, it's a neat character. She's a neat character.
Talking about George Perez,
like this, I'm more willing to pick it up for
sure. The writer is Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a basic story, really, so far.
Yeah. Did she do Pretty Deadly?
And the color, there are 3 colors. Yeah. I saw. It is not Matt Hollingsworth, and I think Matt Hollingsworth would do a better job actually, in terms of color that helps the story. But there's 3 colorists. Let me see. Hi-Fi. Who actually, Hi-Fi does a great job on, of course, Hi-Fi isn't one person. Hi-Fi does a great job. Hi-Fi is a studio, does a great job on Usagi Yojimbo, actually.
Yes.
Someone named Arif Piranto and Romulo Fajardo Jr., who I've seen on a lot of DC books.
Romulo Fajardo Jr.
So I don't know if he picked different colorists for different style pages or how that worked.
Well, as busy as those pages are, you need several artists because this is a lot of work to do.
Right. Now, here in the back half of the book, the coloring is more tame and the storytelling is more clear. So maybe I should give him more credit. He's going crazy with the gods parts. And once he's just in regular ancient Greece, it calms down a bit. I hadn't thought of that before. So looking through it again is kind of helpful.
Yeah.
This is Wonder Woman's mom.
Yeah, the mascara. Yes?
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mascara is the place where they are.
The
Actually.
mascara is where they live. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh, that's the page you were talking about, Terrence.
Yeah, this is the one here. Yeah.
So I guess that's
that.
Hippolyta running up there, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is a very cool page. So I'm glad I'm looking it over with you guys because I'm seeing more.
We give you
more
a different
there than
perspective.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on here, but it looks very cool. I think it's
G.H.
showing
Williams
men
type of
behaving
layout.
badly or being killed by the
Yeah.
Amazon or something.
I was thinking about that. It looks very inspired by almost similar to G.H. Williams III.
Yes. And comic chaos and comics.
Oh,
Chris Sarda compared it to me on Twitter or somewhere, or maybe in my comments, to J.H. Williams. But I feel like as wild as J.H. Williams gets, it's always serving the story more, I feel. It's a matter of different people's perceptions.
Yeah, it's a bit busy.
Anyway, it's an interesting. It's very unique. I mean, I'm very glad I got it. And apparently there's going to be a different artist on each issue. So who knows what...
Oh, wow.
There's 3 issues, so who knows what the next issue is going to be like.
Okay.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So that, in a way, that's kind of disappointing because I do like consistency usually.
Right.
Unless it's one and dones like with Jonah Hex.
And talk about Wonder Woman and George Perez. George Perez run of Wonder Woman is fantastic.
Yes.
I have the whole run. I think the whole run in singles because I like George Perez. So yeah, it's one of my star things because I know there's lots of famous because of the what's his name? I always blank the name of the writer famous for Wonder Woman. What is his name?
Brian Azzarello?
No, before that.
Gail Simone?
Before that, the mailman, the man. What's the name, man? That's the thing. No, it's the guy who is. For God's sake, he's gonna really bother me now. Rucka, thank you, Highland.
Oh yeah, Rucka, yeah.
Rucka.
So I never read his original run, and his second run in the Rebirth DC was not that great.
Yeah. So Rucka's like afterwards followed through, I think. But
Have you read that run?
Rucka was very famous when Gail Simone had taken over, and then she was very famous for that run as well. But yeah, for art wise, and I like the storytelling anyway. And George Perez, there's omnibus as well in that run. So yeah, I recommend for anybody if you want to discover George Perez, what he's famous for. It's definitely looks beautiful, and the stunning looking panels.
Yeah. I loved the Azzarello run, which a lot of
so did I. The Azzarello run was fantastic.
I have not read it. I actually I would. Oh, talking about Azzarello. You guys, Damon, you picking up the Catwoman run? Is still continuously running? You liking it, or I missed it?
No, I haven't been picking it up at all.
Didn't you? Somebody was. One of you did. The Catwoman, the old one, Black Label as well. Azzarello is doing it, isn't it?
No, I didn't know about that.
No, Black Label is Frank Cho doing the.
Oh, Frank Cho.
The Catwoman.
Is it Frank Cho doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it's Azzarello. Is it?
Mike, I think we all gave up on Scumbag eventually.
Yeah.
I still got the issues on my pull list, and I've got about 6 of them that I haven't read yet, but I still keep getting them, and I just don't read them anymore.
I sort of felt like the story was just repeating itself after a while.
Yeah. Should really take it off my pull list, actually.
But I liked the concept originally and some of the cool art. But yeah, that was, I think Mike might be mentioning it because it's a different artist every issue.
Right.
Oh, Cliff Chang. That's the one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Cliff Chang. Sorry. Frank, what am I talking about? Yeah, Cliff Chang.
Oh, I am getting that one. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, the Lonely Nights.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I was like, am I going mad?
Issue, but it's like this. One. It's a big size.
Okay.
Bigger than
that's why. I was thinking maybe it came out more because I was wondering if you're still enjoying it. The Cliff Chang.
I have a feeling it's going to be every other month or something because it's so large.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, I loved that first issue. And
same with me.
I always loved Cliff Chang's art, but I didn't know if he could write, but he actually could write very well.
Yeah.
So that was very cool.
Yeah.
Lonely City, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
I was thinking, it's like you surely showed me. I was like not thinking like who else I'm chatting to. So
I was thinking, was there a Brian Azzarello run on it?
Because I was like, because it's the same artist Cliff Chang was
Yes.
doing with Azzarello, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I was talking about the same thing. I thought. Anyway, all those things.
Well, I think I'm nearing the end. Does anyone want to show one more thing? Do you have one more thing you want to show, Terrence? I know you read a lot.
I'd talk one more. The one that I'll just very briefly, I found a whole stack of Warlock 5, and honestly, hit your dollar bins and look for this run. These two creators, the writer artist, they did the first 12 issues. So I found out those are the ones to get. Honestly, do yourself a favor, and if you see them, just grab any issue. It is so much fun. The art is so incredible. But I won't spend too much time talking about that. I did want to talk about this one though. So the Laura issues number 1 and 2. I read them out almost. I read them almost back to back. It was one of the things that in the backup of Porcelain, they show a little sample from Laura issue 1, and then I didn't realize it was out already. Thanks to Gore Vidal and some people in a chat. To let me know that it is out there. So I grabbed 1 and 2. I'm really liking this. This is another one where I like the idea of kind of exploring that headspace of a relationship that's ended, and just kind of what you go through in that time and their relationship in this. There's kind of hints of quietly in some of this art too, especially in his early kind of style. Like that stuff really reminds me of Frank Quietly, as far as like especially All-Star Superman and things, right? Like the Lois Lane, you can see Lois Lane there. Yeah,
you're right. I
so
hadn't thought of that.
I'm really digging this story quite a bit. It's I like his exploration of relationships. I like that it's kind of focused on a female character. I'm really digging it, and just that kind of, again, that headspace of how it can seem all encompassing. And I also like the similarities to, not that it's like Carmen whatsoever, but it's that kind of idea of this this love that you had for somebody that's not really reciprocated, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. There's some kind of ambiguity there for sure, a little bit, as she's trying to kind of deal with this, just trying to get out of that headspace, and her friend who's really pushing her into, let's just go and party. All you need is to hook up with somebody and you'll feel better kind of attitude. And she's kind of exploring this relationship with a new guy. I'm really digging it. It's a creator, again, like if it wasn't for Carmen, Guillaume Marsh wouldn't be on my radar whatsoever. Right. And I'm really, really glad that he's now on my radar, because I'm really digging this quite a bit. And he, his art style isn't kind of to the same level for me as it is in Carmen, but it's still really good. You can see kind of some of those notes. And he draws gorgeous women. And that's kind of, one of the staples of his art for sure. So I'm really digging it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this story. It's one of those, again, I sit and read an issue and I'm really drawn in characters. The characters really feel fleshed out to me. They feel like real human beings, going through some real stuff. Even though there's moments of the dialogue here that didn't quite work for me, but it wasn't enough to kind of take me out of the story. I was still into it. So yeah, I dig it so far. I don't know how many issues it's going to be, but I'm on board for sure.
It looks a lot more dialogue heavy than Carmen, and a lot of small panels.
100%. Yeah.
I'm not sure if Andrew's talking about Laura or something else.
I think so.
Yeah, I have both those issues, but I haven't read them yet. I read a few pages and I just wasn't in the mood for a girl depressed over a relationship.
Yeah.
Now that you've been enthusiastic about it, I should give it more of a chance.
Yeah.
It looks like a theme, huh? He likes those depressed girls, eh? Yep. Like Carmen had it. She's suicidal and depressed.
And that's the thing that's interesting to me. I like that idea of taking a topic and kind of approaching it at different angles, because this is a very different angle to approach it. Like, it hasn't completely destroyed her to the effect that it did in Carmen, where she's really just distraught and kind of made this really huge decision, right? Like, she's trying to carry on and trying to figure it out. I find that interesting, a variation on a theme, right?
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Looks nice to look at.
Yep.
The subject I definitely wouldn't read. As I said before that as well. Not mine.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if you told me that subject, I wouldn't be interested in it whatsoever. It wouldn't appeal to me. But because it's him and it's because of this kind of angle, I found it really kind of engaging. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, if you just told me the story, I would have zero interest in it whatsoever. But yeah.
Is this like translated as well? And it used to be published before, and they were putting it now in singles. Is that
correct?
How it goes?
I think Gore Vidal said this is some of his first work, if not his kind of earliest work, right? So this is kind of way before what we know as Carmen, you know. So
it's probably because of the success of Carmen that Ablaze dug this up, because Ablaze specializes, I think, in bringing European comics over here. And squishing down the format.
I just don't understand why they leave those great panels and you don't use the whole fucking page. Maybe it's just because the printing.
Well, they'd have to distort the pictures to make them fit.
I see. Yeah, true.
You're
completely right. Yeah, and then you'll be a bit weird. Yeah.
But it's a shame that they can't just publish them in their normal album size.
Because
is Veronica with a K? Is that something you know of? Is that like a
no idea
series that other various people have done?
Yeah, if Gore Vidal is here, I'm sure he'd be able to tell us.
Right. We're so, our lives are less without Gore there.
It's true, yeah.
It's amazing to look at that art and the art in Carmen and then compare it to what he does on Batman. Yeah, it's like two different artists. I'm still not a huge fan of his DC work.
Right.
But Carmen definitely won me over.
Yeah, absolutely. Carmen is fantastic for sure.
So maybe it's because he hadn't so much time to do it. It seems to be the kind of looser. This Laura one you showed, it feels a bit more looser, less tighter art, like less kind of like explosive in the paneling, because the Carmen used to those panels and the way the body like he used camera to express the body and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Well, so maybe next we'll be getting this book Veronica translated.
Let's hope,
assuming Laura does well.
Yeah. There was this band
Slint that I loved, each with the name of a woman as their title.
There was this band Slint that I loved, and on their first album, every single track was the name of a different woman. Beautiful, kind of like a rock, very, very light, like moody kind of rock music, but every single one was dedicated to a different a woman. Really fantastic album.
I wonder how the women felt about it.
Well, let's hope. Yeah, I couldn't remember much of the lyrics. I think they were all positive, so hopefully they felt okay by it. Yeah.
You thought that you were the only one, and then you got the album and found out there were 12 others.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
But it does seem kind of a cool theme to mine. You know, different relationships in different situations.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, there you go. AFPC. He got that one. Slint were fantastic. There's a great documentary about them on YouTube as well too, because they had this one album that I listened to repeatedly. It's just so nice and very, very quiet, and it's fantastic. So great.
Well, I think maybe we should call it a day. I did watch one episode of Hawkeye. We're waiting to watch the rest because at my daughter's school, they have a contest. The winner will be whoever doesn't hear the song Little Drummer Boy before Christmas. And apparently Little Drummer Boy plays in the second episode of Hawkeye, so we're not allowed to watch it till after Christmas.
Is there like 3 episodes now or 4?
Maybe 4. Do they come out every Friday? I'm not sure.
I watched until the last came out, I think, or the day one before. I really like it. I like the
I was
dynamic.
impressed by the first episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
I like the woman in particular, the girl or whatever.
Yeah. On our break, I watched the new Bond movie. Absolutely loved it. Good farewell to the actor because it was his last one. Absolutely fantastic. What else? I watched so many things because my mom wanted to see a lot of things because she can caught up in here. Like she's like, oh, you have so much things, and we just watched all of it. Oh, I watched the Dune on at home, not on a big screen, and absolutely the music was absolutely fantastic. If that music wasn't there, like you said, the movie would be very different feeling.
Yeah.
And the right moments and the right time, and I really enjoyed it. It's funny. I was asking my mom if she watched the first edition. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, what? You haven't seen it then? No. And she's the bookworm. She hasn't read it. She's the bookworm of the family, basically. Or she reads books like nothing. Anyway, and then she hasn't read the book. She saw this, like, it's her first experience of Dune. I was like, I'm kind of disappointed, Mom. I was like expecting you to watch this before me, because it came out in the 80s. I was not interested in that kind of movies in that era. Anyway, so I watched Dune and really liked it. But the Bond was really good. All three of us, me and my husband and my mom, we were like stunned. We were really happy with it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed the Bond movie because before it used to be like, you watch it, okay, but you finished. But this one was really clenching up to your like teary side of it because it just had really I don't know, it just really worked for me. So if you guys haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. If you just
my brother
enjoy the classic
as well too.
Yeah, really good.
I've never seen Dexter, but I've always heard good things about it.
I watched the first iterations of Dexter. Really good, fantastic, actually. Really good. I like the actor a lot. And has those it's too horror, like he's like he kills people for fun, really. But the actor itself is really good. It just gives you a little bit more dimension to the killer, I guess. But now there's a new series. Apparently he's back.
With the same actor, I guess.
Yeah, the same actor is doing the same things. Yeah. So I wonder, I'm not watch it because I don't think it's available where I have to like specially pay to watch those episodes. So I'm not usually tend not to do it. Disney now is an extra I don't really want to have, but they have all those other things, which is even my son now likes Disney stuff. So it's like, oh shit, okay. Me and my husband's
Disney Plus? Is it called that there?
Yeah. Disney Plus.
It's the only one we pay for. We're piggybacked on my parents' Netflix, and the only one we pay for is Disney Plus.
Nice.
Because there's some good stuff on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
we
Disney
watch Disney Plus more than anything, I think.
Yeah, my son wasn't interested because he's like, some certain, but now he's absolutely obsessed with it. Now he wants Mickey Mouse is his favorite thing. And I was like, what, really? He even dances like those. But there's a classic, some of the classic animations, which is I love it. But then they have those new ones, which is like computerized, and they look so like
I watched a lot of those a number of years ago.
Yeah, and my son,
special house that they have.
Yeah, and they go dancing and all that stuff. And my son is out like, oh my god, it's the best thing he have seen.
At a certain age, it's super appealing.
Yeah, and it's quite annoying as well because the singing is way over the board, and that Mickey Mouse voice. It's like
Right.
Anyway, I was talking now Mickey Mouse. Sorry.
Zesty Clam, that last season of that newest season of Twin Peaks, mind-boggling. It's so good, man.
Oh, I haven't watched that.
It's good. It's out there. It's really out there. It's David Lynch at prime David Lynch, yeah.
Well, I think we really do have to get going.
I think so.
Yes, thank you.
I will be in Arizona next week, but I might be able to join in on my iPad if one of you can host. If you guys are free next week. I know things get busy. Right?
Next week, isn't it next week? Oh yeah, maybe.
I might not be around, but I'll keep in touch.
Okay.
No. Yeah, we'll see. We can also.
Okay. Well, we'll let people know on Twitter if we're going to do an episode.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. That would be nice for them to know.
And then after that will be the Christmas weekend. We probably won't do anything then. I assume.
No.
So you'll either see us next weekend or in the new year.
2022.
So happy Christmas for you viewers of ours, and maybe happy New Year as well if you don't see you. So
later, people.
Enjoy your family.
Bye-bye.